Starkville is almost off the charts as the Bulldogs of Mississippi State make their way through the dog walk. Their head coach, Dan Mullen. Their quarterback, Dak Prescott. It's an undefeated team. But then the state of Mississippi has been the center of the college football universe for the last 10 days.
Here comes Prescott looking for a block. Touchdown! Down the sideline. Fred Brown. He scores. Prescott's wide open. He's going to walk in. Mississippi State has beaten the number 6 team in the country.
Rebels in the Tide, ready to go here in Oxford. Oh, looking to throw. Throws the end zone. Walton. He's got it! Ole Miss will have the football. Picked in the end zone by Sinclair Golson. Ole Miss has knocked off #1 Alabama, and the students are pouring onto the field.
It was some Saturday, was it not? And we expect more of the same today. Take a look at the current SEC West standings. Auburn and Mississippi State, numbers 2 and 3, meeting here in Starkville later this evening. Third-ranked Ole Miss will take on Texas A&M. Hi once again, everybody. Bᴜʟʟᴅᴏ Lundquist along with Gary Danielson. We trust that you're as excited about this as we are. So many themes from which to choose. Let's begin with the coaches, Gary, who are among the 2 best play callers in the game.
Absolutely. You know, they built their programs by getting the job first, and to do it, they had to be great offensive coordinators, and they both were. Gus Malzahn, obviously, at Auburn, and Dan Mullen at Florida. But when they got here, they took programs and had to rebuild in Auburn and build one here at Mississippi State. They've done great jobs, but they go back to their roots, and that means they're play callers, Vern, and that's how they built their program. Gus, I believe, is the best play caller in all of college football. Not a head coach, offensive coordinator, or head coach. He just knows his offense, and he knows when to pull the right play at the right time. And Dan Mullen, of course, we remember him at Florida. He's retaken the responsibility of calling plays here, and this offense has taken off.
Well, I get the easiest transition of the day. We go from talking about 2 of the best coaches in the game to 2 of the best quarterbacks in the game.
Yeah, Vern, you know, there's tons of great players here, but this game is probably going to fall to the quarterbacks. We do know that. The winner will be in the middle of the Heisman talk, but neither one of these guys care about that. It's on to trying to win a national championship. Dak attack, Dak Prescott. He has all the tools, size, speed, but what differentiates him from the rest of the quarterback, a lot like Tim Tebow, a lot like Cam Newton, is that power, those 3rd and shorts, his ability to take those short yardage plays and make first downs and touchdowns is really what separates him and this offense. And Nick Marshall, well, we've seen him grow. He threw for 339 in this game a year ago, but now we know he's elusive with that running game. And oh, by the way, he was pretty good last year throwing the ball. He's even better this year. We got a great matchup at game and quarterback.
It is the first time ever that 2 top 5 teams have played in Starkville. Back in a moment. And we welcome you to Starkville, the Home Depot SEC on CBS. A highly excited crowd here for a battle of undefeateds. The Auburn Tigers 5-0, ranked 2nd in the country, and the Bulldogs of Mississippi State likewise 5-0 and tied for 3rd in the current weekly standings. We now take you to First on the Field, presented by Microsoft Surface. Right now, a balmy afternoon, 83 degrees. There is the expectation of 40% of showers later in the afternoon. This is only the 19th time these 2 teams have met in Starkville. 88th meeting in all. Auburn has won 5 of the last 6. And it's the first time both teams ranked since 2011. Moments ago, Allie LaForce on the field with Dan Mullen.
Coach, it has taken 6 years of hard work to elevate Mississippi State to the top 5 ranking. You're here now. What are the emotions like knowing what's at stake today?
Well, it's fantastic, that feeling, but I'll tell you what, we got to come out here, play with a relentless effort for 60 minutes, and we want to keep those feelings and keep those emotions going in the future.
Auburn's defense has not allowed a single touchdown in its last 18 quarters. How do you attack them offensively?
We just got to execute very clean. We're going to get one-on-one situations. We got to make plays down the field, and you got to control.
They have elected to defer, and so Mississippi State will get the football as we open this highly anticipated matchup. If you have a love of cowbells, there's no better place for you to be. Robert Johnson, number 12, are the two deep men. Way through the end zone. And it's time now to present the Chick-fil-A starting lineup. And the quarterback, Dak Prescott.
When I went out to practice, I was really surprised. He's a much better thrower than I thought. He's a better thrower than Tim Tebow was at this time. He's in the level close to Cam Newton.
That's high praise.
First pick in the draft, I guess.
Well, for the moment, there is a 2014 season and high aspirations. Play action. Prescott deep down the middle. Incomplete. Flag, no flag. Holsey defending. It was intended for Gabe Miles.
Prescott's pass falls incomplete, intended for Gabe Miles.
Yeah, that could have been, you know, the Auburn defensive backs not appearances in each of the games. That could have been one in this game.
Now he had that left arm wrapped around. Here's Prescott going into the left flat, and that is caught by Malcolm Johnson, number 6. Well, you've met Prescott. Here's the rest of the line. Bozell, Malone, Dylan Day suspended last week for Miles, number 35, very effective last week. 3rd and 3. Hand up. Oh my, great
time.
Whoa, that was Josh Robinson, and that was Casanova McKenzie.
The biggest difference between this Auburn team of 14 and 13, I believe, is the inside linebackers. Frost and McKenzie, by the way, are both better players than they were a year ago. Casanova McKenzie just blew that play up.
Backup punter is on because Devin Bell pulled a groin muscle in warm-ups last week. So Logan Cook, a true freshman, is on to punt in the biggest game of the season. They come after it.
Mississippi State had no idea that ball was going to be. That was a misfire and could have been a disaster for State.
There is a flag.
Watch the offensive lineman turning around and looking around there. Look at that.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure they'll decline the penalty.
Illegal motion on the offense. Moving forward at the snap. 5 yards will be added to the end of the kick. First down.
Tom Ritter is our referee today, head of the crew.
Last year, when Nick Marshall played this outstanding Mississippi State defense, the full package wasn't there. They ran for less than 120. Let's see if they give more of the running offense.
They have been remarkably balanced so far this year. Has Auburn. Here's Marshall, a lot of time. Right side, he's tipped, intercepted. Picked off on the left side by Jay Hughes.
I believe that ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage. It wasn't that bad of a throw. It was a disastrous result. Ball was tipped inside, and then just a free interception. Jay Hughes said, "I never knew it would be this easy." Jay's right there.
Jay Hughes, son of one of the Mississippi State coaches, Tony Hughes. He missed all of last year. That's his second pick of this season, and it's only the second interception thrown by Nick Marshall. Fumble. Well, nervous, anybody? Recovered by the Bulldogs.
Fumbled on the play, recovered by the Bulldogs, loss of a yard.
Second down, 11. Four wide receivers, two on either side. Robinson, here comes Prescott being chased. Lets it go. That one's incomplete.
Prescott's pass is deflected by...
Well, we showed Jay Hughes catching that interception. Let's see the guy who caused it. I believe it was... a 10-year NFL player. Well, he's on his way with that play.
Look at this, 19 attempts, no first downs. LSU last week was 0 for 13. It's 3rd and 11. Blitz. Prescott hit as he lets it fly. It's caught. And the missed tackle. Bear Wilson. Wilson, known as Bear.
Well, this was obvious man-to-man all over the field. Dak Prescott knew what he had. Interesting to poor technique by Mincy on that play. He had no help in the middle of the field, and he was outside technique. If you don't have a safety, you got to get inside. And then on top of that, he missed the tackle.
34-yard touchdown.
You can see the safety right here. They're going man-to-man on this side. They knew it. Prescott knew it from the snap. He knew the blitz was coming off the slot. Man-to-man coverage and poor technique. And on top of that, a missed tackle. Now, Wilson's a big guy, but you cannot allow him to the inside, and clean hit, and a quarterback will take one of those anytime.
First strike, Mississippi State. Very contented Mississippi State bench now as they get the first touchdown of the game. Auburn, the first points allowed off of a turnover so far this year. Capacity here is 61,000 plus. They remodeled in the offseason and opened up additional seats to the north. Cook will kick off. Rock Thomas, number 9, running back. Touchback.
Taken for a touchback. Auburn has at their own 25-yard line.
Well, as we said at the outset of the afternoon, if you're a big fan of cowbells, this is your place. If you're not, it's kind of like that musical instrument, to call it something, that was so obvious at the South African World Cup a few years ago. Tradition with the cowbell started in the mid-30s. Marshall pulls it back, lets it go, it's caught. Fumble. Turnover, Mississippi State.
They probably will review. Tevez Calhoun, number 23, broke off his zone coverage and saw it. Let's see if the receiver has it long enough. Ball is caught, 1-2, hit, and ball out. Vern, I think you called it right. He has it, and the tackle pops it out.
And then Bernardrick McKinney, who might be the largest middle linebacker in all of college football, recovers it.
That's not good, right?
No, even I know that. And so, Mississippi State
2 plays, 2 turnovers. That's not good, I don't
With
think.
my vast years of experience calling these games, I get that. Prescott, deep down the middle. Golly, he was open. But the pass a little too far in front.
Prescott's pass intended for Graham falls incomplete.
Jamoral Graham,
Alexander in coverage.
not listed as having caught a pass this year, and he's going to stay on the field. Second down catch.
Ellis Johnson, Vern, on the first down play, loaded the box. Had 9 guys in the box. They had to throw the ball at Mississippi State.
Ellis Johnson, the defensive coordinator and very astute defensive coach who's been around for a few years. Second down, 10. Sweep right. This is Josh Robinson. Well, let's take a look at the Auburn defensive team. Adams, Bradley, Ladarius Owens, Joshua Holsey was SEC Defensive Player of the Week in the Kansas State win. He replaces Jerome Whitehead, who continues to serve a suspension. The longtime starter is missing his 4th straight game. Prescott, there's pressure, man open. Josh Robinson down the sidelines.
Boy, you talk about busted assignments. Ellie talked to Dan Mullen saying it's a big game. Would you be tight? Well, obviously, Auburn is the team. They're busting assignments left and right. That one was just, you can never let a eligible receiver run out of the backfield.
Robinson with the carry. He got in.
He did. He stuck that ball out. That's a dangerous play on first down to do stuff like that, because if it get popped out, but he got it across the goal line and gets a touchdown for a point. I've seen bad starts before, but not much worse than this for Auburn. And just sneaks out of the backfield. Obviously, he's an eligible receiver, and Auburn completely blows an assignment. Nobody covers him, gets down to the goal line, and then Dan Mullen's going to rush it. They're going to go up-tempo, run it real fast, and Robinson gets the touchdown. Woo, what a start for the defending champs in this conference.
14-0 Mississippi State. The Cowbells, they be clanging. 2 plays for Auburn, 2 turnovers.
Well, the Mississippi State defense is showing a look that Auburn wants to run, throw the ball instead of the run. They're crowding the box, they're forcing the pass, and obviously they're making plays to start the game.
See what happens here. Corey Grant, number 20.
They do best. Run the ball.
Fumble. Oh my gosh. This looks like Auburn of 2012 instead of Auburn 2013.
Well, Mississippi State had trouble early lining up and snap count and stuff, and then all of a sudden, Auburn gets the ball and 2 turnovers and bobble and everything.
Well, let's see what they can do on their 3rd offensive play of the game. Corey Grant is now the running back. And for more on the turnovers, let's go down to Allie LaForce.
Thank you, Vern. It's almost as though Mississippi State's defense had so much confidence in itself that they knew these turnovers were coming. On their board, which Coach writes on when he's trying to teach them a play, he wrote, "Get the ball," and he boxed it off so it can stay up all game. And each player that's forced a turnover has written their number on it. So Hughes, Calhoun, and McKinney all have their number on the board.
Here's Cameron Artis-Payne.
Yeah. Can I add one for him too, though?
Yeah.
I think they should put this number up there too, because he deflected that first pass.
Yeah. Give the D lineman a little credit. 3rd and 2. Auburn has excelled at 3rd downs this year. 57% through the first 5 games. Artis-Payne behind Marshall. He gets it. 1st down, Auburn. So almost 5 minutes gone in the game, and something positive for Auburn.
The tough task for Gus Malzahn as he matches up his running offense, that the only time they rushed for under 200 yards last year was in the game against Mississippi State. The front 4, these defensive linemen are alone. They just beat blocks.
Marshall keeps it, cuts up, pursued, 3 men get there. Led by Bernardrick, McKinney, and Caleb Ewells, numbers 50 and 92.
One of the things about this Mississippi State defense is they're not at all intimidated by tempo or spread football. They face it in practice. They're very calm with it. And Jeff Collins, their defensive coordinator, said they will play 25.
Some kind of warning given by Tom Ritter. It was a warning to the Auburn bench. Marshall lets it fly, caught. That's Duke Williams.
Yeah, but it's going to come back, though.
Holding.
Left tackle Sean Coleman's going to get called, number 72. He's blocking Preston Smith, one of the great football players in all of college football. And when Preston comes around the corner, you could see that left arm right underneath his helmet. Great call.
Offense, 10-yard penalty, we play 2nd down.
See, that's what physical matchups can do to you. That's the struggle when you're playing Mississippi State. They're going to play 8 guys in that defensive line, and all of them are a tough one-on-one matchup for Auburn. All of them are.
And so instead of a 1st down near midfield, 2nd and 21. That penalty wiped out a 28-yard gain. Here comes Preston Smith. Somebody heard footsteps, and the somebody was Sammy Coates, number 18. Well, we played a little bit of ways, but let's set the Auburn offense. 𝐭𝐭𝐿 Williams, junior college transfer, has been a real presence, and Sammy Coates, who dropped the last one. 2 big wideouts, and Coates coming off a knee injury, had a great game last week, but he's been hampered much of the season. 3rd and 21. Marshall will take it on the design draw, and it'll be 4th down. Will Redmond made the tackle.
I really think Auburn is going to have to go to their zone read option football game. If they could establish that, maybe they can figure out different ways to run the ball against this front for Mississippi State.
Excuse me, Gary.
My fault.
Daniel Carlson is on to punt. Jamoral Graham is deep to return. And he's going to let that one limp across the 30 and come to a stop.
Fans, turn your attention.
8:33 to go. First quarter of play.
Mississippi State.
14-0. Mississippi State with the lead and the ball. Today is Super Social Saturday. Thank heaven we've got Allie the Force to explain that.
You got it. I got your back, Vern. That's right. Super Social Saturday on CBS Sports. All you have to do is follow us at all of our social media accounts. How do you celebrate? Well, tell us how you do using the hashtag AU versus MSST, and we're going to put the best fan tweet of the game on the air. Vern, I'm still waiting for your first tweet, though.
Be patient, Allie. Be very patient. It would constitute something like, well, I'm leaving my car now.
There you go.
And 1st down. Prescott. And then came on and was the hero of the win over Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl. Had a triple stinger, Dan Mullen told us, prior to that game. Yeah.
You know, the most impressive thing, we knew Dak was physically gifted. He could run the quarterback draw on the zone keep, but he's really improved just as a quarterback. Dan Mullen deserves a lot of credit. Look at that.
That one's good. It's knock free. I don't think it's going to count. Well, let's go back to the studio for this forward update. Here's Adam.
All right, Vern, it is also 14-0 in a meeting of the 2 unbeaten teams in the Big 12. Number 9 TCU on top in Waco, 14-0 thanks to B.J. Catalon. TCU's won 3 of their last 4 against top 5 teams after beating Oklahoma last week. Back to you.
All right, Adam, thank you. It's 3rd and 6 here. 4 men down for Auburn. See if they bring, well, 3 down, and here come the linebackers. And they come. Prescott stands strong, lofts it. Not a great pass, but a great catch.
Yep, back shoulder.
Robert Johnson.
That was designed. Ravon Reed, number 25, was in coverage, and that's just great execution. Throw the ball out to the outside. Expect your guy to be better than their guy, and he was. That is as good as you can do it.
That's a 22-yard gain. Johnson's 5th catch of the year. 1st and 10 across midfield. Prescott, good pressure. Stands strong, man wide open. Malcolm Johnson, the tight end, made the catch.
You know, the biggest difference between this Auburn defense from a year ago, as you watch this play, just a man-on-man coverage right here to the tight end, is before a year ago, D Ford would get that sack. They do not have that outside pass rusher. They're forced to bring pressure.
There's Robinson going left, breaking tackles.
Yeah. That was a perfect example of the bowling ball right there.
Yeah. You kind of get the idea, just taking a look at him, that this gregarious young man loves his nickname, the bowling ball. This team, Gary, as you know, is staying in our hotel. Well, it's actually their hotel.
Yes, we stayed at their hotel.
Yes, and I saw Josh Robinson last night. He said, I could play right now. Got a smile a mile wide. 1st down 10. Prescott, near side, caught. Bear Wilson, DeRunya.
Bᴜʟʟᴅᴏ Wilson is 6'5", 225 pounds.
Second down and 2.
One of those guys that's just a mismatch nightmare. He's a basketball player in high school, really hasn't even played that much football. He's still learning how to do it. There is no ceiling to this guy. None. He's in the size of a Calvin Johnson type receiver.
Second down 2 as you look at the Verizon red zone stats. Here's Prescott again.
Nice
Tipped.
coverage.
Yes, it was.
Oh, they got him. I think they got Javon Reed that time. Reed was a wide receiver a year ago for Auburn. See how he pulled the jersey? Just a little bit of the jersey he pulled with his. If you go back one more time, if he wouldn't have got that tug with the jersey, he'd have been fine. Laying your hand on the back of the receiver is okay, but watch the jersey. Keep going, keep going. One tug there, and then watch one more. See the tug again? Right there. He sees it.
The ball we place at the 2-yard line, automatic first down.
You get the sense in this first quarter that what has not gone wrong for Auburn is about to.
Well, and Dak Prescott again now has moved to the upper echelon as passer. I mean, forget him as a running back right now. He's doing what Cam Newton did late in his career at Auburn. He's doing it early here now as, sixth game of the season.
And here's the power.
Yep.
Touchdown.
It's almost not fair when he wants to run that ball. Just run behind the left side of that line. Nothing fancy here. Just a big 230-pound football player getting a head of steam and somersaulting into the end zone. Prescott 6 for 10. And making good throws and good decisions on every play.
𝐁𝐮𝐿𝐵𝐿 for the extra point. And most unexpectedly, the number 3 team in the country leads the number 2 team in the country by 3 touchdowns in the first quarter. 21-zip. 2 turnovers by Auburn, first 2 plays. And then most recently, a 71-yard drive. Ricardo Lewis is one of 2 deep men. This will be Corey Grant, the other. And now it's time to take a look at our Home Depot tools for success. Gary?
This Auburn team last year had a couple of dependable things every game they could count on. Left tackle Greg Robinson, first-round pick. Jay Posh, a blocking fool. You take that away from this offense, and how they've replaced it, they've done it with more finesse, more wide receivers. It's a different team. They don't have that power running game. I think where they have to go to it is a little boots, a little option. Do something different. They just can't drop back and pass every play.
Number 96, Chris Jones, defensively now. And here's Marshall.
Yep, there's the zone read keep.
Yeah.
You have to establish at least something for Mississippi State to stop on the run, and then you can get to the passing game.
First 3 possessions, 8 plays, 2 turnovers, 1 drop, and 1 penalty. Nice gain on the last.
Yeah, and Vern, it's so hard for Gus Malzahn now to go up tempo because his defense is reeling. And if you go 3 and out now, the scoreboard could change again.
Rock Thomas is on the field.
Yep, that's what they got to do right there.
There we go. Huge play for the Auburn Tigers.
Now you can tempo after a big play, and Auburn will. But you got to go to the zone read option plays. That's really what could negate that front 4, that powerful front 4 for Mississippi State. They just can't run off tackle like they did last year.
That's a gain of 27 for Marshall. Quick opener, Rock Thomas, number 9. who is a freshman out of Oxford, Alabama. And again, they go up tempo after the first down. Got to get that chain gang hustling. They're a little slow getting the chains properly positioned. Jack Thomas with the carry again. Defensively for Mississippi State, Gary told you we'll see 25 guys today. Preston Smith 3 times at a linebacker. Thomas comes out, looks for a block, gets a little bit of one from Quan Bray, and fumbles.
Was he down? Yeah, was he down? That'll be the question. It'll be reviewed, obviously. But you know, it's funny, Vern, the #1 unit that you just read, the defense, is now coming back out on the field. They were all backups in there when you were going through. It was kind of funny to watch.
Well, the head linesman said down and recover. And so ruled. 1st and 10. Well, we were told yes.
Got a little bit of the blend between the 2 guys on the ground, caused the fumble, no doubt.
2nd down, 21-0 Mississippi State.
Almost have to believe it's 4-down territory if it gets anything close to the 1st down.
Marshall flushed. Keeps it. What a defensive stand.
Yeah.
That's
safety linebacker, and he's not going to get away from Matt Wells.
3rd and 10.
Let's see if that front 4 is going to put pressure, whether the Auburn offensive line can hold up here.
Lobs it into the end zone and into double coverage. It was intended for Daquille Williams. Duke, he's called.
Yeah, they're going to have to go field goal and put some points on the board now.
So the true freshman out of Colorado Springs, Daniel Carlson, will come on. Carlson 7 of 9 for the year. And this one will be relatively short. Tyler Stovall will hold. Forrest Hill will snap it. And the freshman, Carlson, from 20.
Well, how about that, Vern? You were reading off the starting lineups when the backups were in. I guess they heard you reading the lineups because the first team defense came running on and they stoned them. So they may call them 1A and 1B, but I think there's a difference between the 2 because that first group came in and they just stopped them cold.
Fascinating. And on 4th and 10, Malzahn is back doing a little coaching. Well,
but there was some good news for Auburn there. They showed that they have a play they can start their offense on and go from there.
1st down 10. Here's Robinson. Now, to say he has a low center of gravity is to state the obvious.
He ran for 197 yards against his home state school, LSU. LSU did not recruit him, and he puts up 197 yards on him in that game when they beat LSU without LSU. Kind of their coming out party this year.
2nd down 4. Prescott keeps it. Interesting that when they were in high school, Prescott played for Houghton, Louisiana. Robinson for Franklinton, Louisiana. And they met 1st round of the playoffs, and it was Robinson's team that prevailed and went on to win the state championship.
Yeah, Auburn has to have a stop here. They're going to blitz off the edge right here. Yep.
Prescott following
a big stop.
His high school foe around the left side, Ladarius Owens.
You know, we did talk about the difference between this Auburn team Ellis Johnson told us they don't make as many mental mistakes as they did in 2013. And the big difference, they just got more tonnage inside. They're better at defensive tackle. They just don't get blocked as easily. That was a big 3-and-out for that Auburn defense.
And again, Devin Bell, normally the punter, pulled a groin in pregame practice last week. So the freshman from Darvin, Mississippi, Logan Cook, is on to punt. Oh, it's a fake. Going left.
Oh, this is just crazy.
Left-handed, it's intercepted.
I don't get this at all.
Why would you?
It's craziness.
Why would you?
Dan. That's forcing something that, and Auburn's playing punt safe. Hopefully, I don't know what to say, hopefully for who. Hopefully it was an audible and it wasn't called from the sidelines.
Jonathan Ford intercepted it. Extraordinary.
I mean, if you look at Auburn, they're playing punt safe. That's just the 21-0 football game, and you allow the other team to possibly take a short field and get back in the game. Wow.
And so here's Auburn at the 36-yard line. First down and 10. Marshall pulls it back, goes deep. He's got Williams down there inside the 10.
What a catch. What a throw. I mean, that's great execution. And Duke Williams, you know, with Sammy Coates and Duke Williams, those two guys just go up and get the ball.
Yep. Williams spent 2 years at East Mississippi Community College. Here's Cameron Otis-Payne, stoned on that one. And let's check the Verizon Red Zone stats for Auburn. Look at this. 17 touchdowns out of 21 trips. Unusual first quarter here in Starkville. Second and goal. Take it to Ricardo Lewis. Marshall looks for help, doesn't get it. Breaks the tackle, gets 1 more yard.
Boy, great leverage by this Mississippi State this time. In that time, number 11.
Matt Wells was also there, third and goal. Auburn uses a timeout. 35 seconds to go, opening quarter. We invite you to follow Auburn, Mississippi State, or your favorite team.
Vern, I think this is a great timeout by Gus Malzahn right here. If I was him, I would have 2 plays and I'd go tempo. Run a 3rd down play, keep the defense that you want on the field, and if you have to go a 4th down play. He sets it all up, brings his offense over, and gives them the exact 2 plays he's going to dial up.
Oh, he should have kept it going to the right, I think.
He didn't have enough speed, though, Vern. He wasn't fast enough. He would have never got to the outside. A gamble play. Tried to get it all in one play. He would have never gotten wide on this team. And great defense. You got to give it to Mississippi State. A trick play, a gimmick play. I thought for sure they'd just run their normal offense and run 2 of them.
And so now you put it back on the foot.
Or do they fake it?
Well, yeah. Carlson just missed from 27. And they get to walk 94 yards. The end of the first. Amazing. 21-zip, Mississippi State. We'll return to Starkville after this message and a word from your local station. Full house here at Davis-Wade Stadium. This is said to be the biggest game ever played here. And on 4th down, Auburn apparently will go for the field goal attempt from 21 yards out. Look at the big story, the turnovers. Those 2 Auburn turnovers on the first 2 offensive snaps they had. Daniel Carlson, freshman, 21 yards. Got it. And so they get on the board. Had that little bit of a gadget play with Uzomah, and as you wisely pointed out.
I didn't like that. Take the ball out of the hands of the quarterback and playmaker and give it to a tight end. I did not like it. I would not have done that. But one thing the Mississippi State defense did, Vern, is bail out Dan Mullen, if you ask me. I mean, I guess you could say the punter called an audible, but it's the head coach's responsibility not to let that happen in that situation. Listen, great start for Mississippi State.
Right.
But Auburn, you know, they showed they can run the ball now with the quarterback. Long football game. They have to depend on their defense now to keep them in the football game.
Well, it was wacky, that's for sure. And it's 21-3 now as we get set for the start of the second quarter, or into it. We played 40 seconds. Dan Mullen, 6th year, was the offensive coordinator, following Urban Meyer from Bowling Green to Utah to Florida. He got this head coaching opportunity. Greg Byrne, then the athletic director, signed him. And Scott Strickland, dear friend of all of ours, is the current athletic director and a graduate of Mississippi State. See, they start the cowbells at an early age. A cowbell myth, a legend has it, that a cow wandered on the field in the mid-30s during the Ole Miss Mississippi State game. Mississippi State won. The cow became a mascot. When the cow died, the cowbell stayed. They were actually outlawed by the SEC from 1974 to 2010. Now you know as much about the cowbells as we do. Nice kick. Speaking of cowbells, start your week off with a bang, a big bang. Catch Emmy winner Jim Parsons and the rest of the gang on TV's #1 comedy. It's a new Big Bang Theory Monday at 8/7 Central, beg your pardon, only CBS. (21-3), Dak Prescott. Nick Griffin is now the running back. They'll use 4. Robinson the primary back, but they spell him. And here's Griffin. Little helmet-to-helmet hit. Nice run.
This offensive line, a lot of seniors on the left side. Of course, Dylan Day, number 63, is back from his 1-game suspension. Ben Beckwith, who actually moved to center last week, and Blaine Clausell, the left tackle. A lot of experience, a lot of football from those 3 guys to the left side.
Blitz threatening, blitz coming. Prescott.
Intercepted.
Wow. Picked off by Jonathan Jones, his 2nd of the year. And that is the 2nd interception against Mississippi State in the ballgame.
See, Robert Jones down here actually thinks he beats him off the line of scrimmage. He's not expecting the back shoulder throw. This is a miscommunication between the quarterback and the receiver. You can see it. Johnson thinks the ball's going to go deep, and Dak's throwing the back shoulder. That's an easy, good coverage by Jones, but that's an easy interception and a big play by that defensive back and defense for Auburn.
Jones, the fastest of the DBs, kept pace with Johnson. Mines, only CBS. Gary, you were asking during the timeout if they go with the 2nd team, the 1Bs. Defensive line, at least they have.
Yes, Jeff Collins out there. Actually, the backup linebackers are in the game, too. It's a gutsy call, sticking to your belief that you got to keep your guys fresh for the 4th quarter. He goes with his 2nd group.
Marshall flips it right side. Ricardo Lewis. Remember the prayer at Jordan-Hare? Marshall to Lewis, the deflected pass for the touchdown that secured the victory on 4th and 18. Georgia, Auburn a year ago. Here's Cameron Artis Payne. That's a 1st down. It was during that game that Gary said That's the greatest finish I've ever seen in college football. It'll never be taught.
For at least a week it wasn't.
Well, there you are. And then, of course, Chris Davis returned the missed field goal against Alabama, 109 yards. First down 10. 21-3. Auburn trying to climb back into this ball game. Marshall back, chased. Does. Oh, he got rid of it. Marcus Davis popped as he goes out of bounds. Zach Jackson, number 14.
This is a great job by Nick Marshall. Avoids a sack, avoids the sack again as he twists away from Zach Johnson.
Cameron Artis Payne. Well, 21-3 here. Let's find out what's going on elsewhere. Here's Adam.
All right, Vern, Pac-12, two of the teams that fell out of the top 10 last week. Oregon's Marcus Mariota floating one over to Thomas Tyner for the touchdown. Mariota, a touchdown pass in every game of his career. They lead UCLA 15-3.
We're back, and Marshall keeps it. He's got another first down. They went for the football and couldn't rip it out. Kendrick Market, that's a gain of 15.
Yeah, and on comes McKinney onto the field. In comes Brown, the linebackers, the starting linebackers onto the field, the two playmakers.
First and goal, Auburn. Early moments, second quarter.
Alabama had kind of a missed assignment. Excuse me. Auburn had a missed assignment with their tight end / tackle out there. That's what slowed them down.
Right side, nothing. That's A.J. Jefferson, number 47. Listed as the 1B defensive end.
Yeah, flag on the play, though. I wonder if it's... I wonder if it was some type of a substitution infraction that time.
Tom Ritter's going to sort it out with his crew.
Or if he thinks there might have been 12 men on the field and he's counting it up to see if there's 11. I don't get it. It's going to be on Auburn, there's no doubt.
Illegal substitution on the offense. Number 91 went out of the game, came back in, and plays the next down. That penalty is declined. Second down.
See him leave the field. Get back in there. We only got 10. Well, once you go out, coming back on. Interesting declining the penalty right there, too.
Second down goal. Interesting, we just checked. We had no Auburn player listed as number 91 on any numerical roster. Nada. Second and goal. Cameron Artis Payne. Third and goal.
I'm going to bet they're not going to take the ball out of Nick Marshall's hands on this one. He's the playmaker. He's run pass threat.
Very important play for Auburn here. Third down conversion rate, 1 of 4. D. Williams is top of the screen, in tight. Sammy Coates, right side. That's Quan Bray. Play action. Oh boy, Preston Smith wasn't fooled. However, it's caught by Coates. There's a flag down.
Might have stepped out first.
2 flags.
The head is off the referee, so he must have stepped on the end line before he came back. Let's see if he was forced out. You knew this was the play coming with Nick Marshall, some type of a bootleg. Pretty sure Coates just drifted on that line and touched that line before he caught the ball.
Illegal touching of a forward pass by number 18. He went out of bounds, came back in, and was first to touch it. That's a loss of down. That's the previous spot. Fourth out.
Yeah, it wasn't forced out at all. It was just not realizing exactly how close he was. He thinks he's open, and just his left foot goes out of bounds, then his right foot, really, both of them. The hat comes off, he catches it, and it's going to be a field goal attempt for fourth down. Will they go for it or try a field goal?
Right now, it looks like they're going to go for the touchdown.
I think right now he may just call it, figure out whether he can review it or whether he gets, if it's third down with a penalty. I don't think Gus Malzahn understands exactly the situation, and he wants some clarity on this call.
Charging Auburn with a challenge. We were notified that the replay process is underway. This play was under further review.
Well, at least from our perspective, it's fairly definitive that his foot was.
From my perspective is the guy on the line over here to the right side that we can't see. Okay, whether his toe was on the line or not, there. Oh yeah, clearly was out. But I'll tell you, the guy with the hat right over here off, he saw it really clear, and there's no way you could overturn it.
Well, both officials threw the hat.
Yep. I think that's a rule really deep in the book, the review book. 2 hats cannot be overturned. 1 hat can. 2 hats can't do anything with it.
Reminds me of John Madden. 1 knee equals 2 feet.
2 hats cannot be overturned.
Yes.
How about the belief in defensive coordinator Jeff Collins? Stuck with his second group of defensive linemen. He did substitute his linebackers in.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. Fourth down.
But he again stopped this powerful Auburn offense from a touchdown. There's Jeff.
3 times now, Auburn has been inside the 20, inside the 10, actually. They missed a 27-yard field goal. They connected with a 21. And for the 3rd opportunity, they're going to have to settle for another field goal attempt. This from 22. The freshman, Daniel Carlson. He's 2 of 3.
But chipping their way back into the game.
Yep. Dak Prescott has led Mississippi State to an unblemished record. He'll be on the field when we. Welcome back to Starkville, Mississippi, 21-6. Dak Prescott getting ready to take the field. His story very compelling. Raised by Peggy Prescott as a single mom, the father not a factor in the kids' lives early on. There were 3 sons, Tad and Jace, the older brothers are here. A year ago, Peggy Prescott passed away from colon cancer. She was a shining light in Dak's life. And you will notice when he scores, in her honor, he raises his fingers to the sky. Peggy Prescott passed away last November. She and her youngest son, extremely close. Daniel Carlson will kick off. 21-6. Boom. Now let's go down to Allie LaForce for more on Dak Prescott.
Thank you, Vern. Dak is one of 3 brothers who have all stuck together to get through the difficult times of the passing of their mother. Now, during the funeral, the service gave a message to the 3 brothers specifically, and the message was fight, faith, and finish, with each word representing one brother. So before the game against LSU last week, Dak's older brother gave him a necklace, and on the front of the necklace is the second half of the Lord's Prayer and his mom's initials. On the back of the necklace, it has the words fight and finish, so that way his brothers are always with him.
And the brothers are here today. Here's Prescott, Derunya Williams, and the hurry up, Gary.
And this is a play actually that Dan Mullen and Tim Tebow made famous at Florida. It's a play-action pass that's done only by the quarterback. He fakes the run himself, he ducks down, and then pops up and throws the slant to the outside. A very effective play from the spread.
First down 10. Right side, got another one. And again, it's Bear. It's his nickname, Bear Williams. Just short of a first down. For Wilson. We got a Williams and a Wilson prominent receivers today. Second down and 1.
So Auburn defense had a 3-and-out and an interception, and all of a sudden, bang, bang, 2 first downs by throws from Prescott. The running game has not been a factor yet so far for Mississippi State. Remember, against LSU, they ran for 300, A&M 280, only 36 today.
Here's the play change after Therese threatened to blitz from his corner spot. Now he bounces back up toward the line. Option, and Prescott hit and taken down, but gets rid of it to Josh Robinson. I think he's got enough for the first down. Yes, it appears that way.
Josh Robinson, the ball carrier.
Inside out, good defense, penetration by that defensive line. Blackson gets in there and forces the pitch a little early, but still get the first down. The Auburn run defense really is a story in this game so far. Will they force Mississippi State and Prescott to be a passer the whole game?
First down 10 at the 44. They option here. Prescott. 15 tackles, 15. Joshua Holsey for Auburn.
Holsey, the free safety that time, goes, where's all the linebackers? I'm running up here. I'm the only one left.
Gain of 7, second down and 3. 21-6, 9:20 to go. First half. Pump, let it go. Wobbly pass, incomplete.
Was it tipped or not? Chris Frost, number 17, might have got his hand on it. Read it very well. Wheel route from the backfield. Let's see, the ball wasn't thrown particularly well. I think he tipped it.
Yeah. 3rd and 3.
In that no-man's zone where they might go for it on 4th down if they don't make it.
Prescott to the pitch. Robinson. First down, Bulldogs.
So when you can't run the ball and you're Auburn, you go to the quarterback keep. You can't run the ball and you're Mississippi State, you go to the option. I mean, this stuff is really not that hard. For a couple more years and we can switch jobs here, okay?
I kind of like it up
all
here.
Right,
yeah,
all right.
Yeah. Prescott, first down 10, 21-6, impressive drive. 3 runs, 3 throws. 8:52 to go, first half. Nick Griffin is the running back now. And corner blitz threatened, they back out. 5-man rush, Prescott pumps, keeps it. First down. 15 on 15 again.
Well, that's a bust by the pass rush. There's one thing Ellis Johnson did not want is this big quarterback to get outside the pocket like this. You got a 4-man rush. You must have discipline from those defensive end spots. That was too easy. It's not Gabe Wright's fault. Inside you were okay. It was the defensive ends that time. Took an inside rush, too simple.
He gives it off. This is Nick Griffin. Well, Prescott has climbed into the middle of the Heisman Trophy conversation. Take a look at this, Gary. Compared to other previous recent winners, that is. Tebow, Newton, Manziel, Prescott. A lot of numbers to absorb, but he holds up well.
Yeah, but it's the next 7 games.
Yep.
He's in position through 5. It's the next 7. You got to put W's up if you're a quarterback.
Second down and 8. Play action, Prescott deep in the end zone. Intercepted. That's not going to help. Jonathan Jones with his 2nd interception of the game.
Well, he had so much confidence in De'Runnya Wilson. He just puts the ball off. He just thinks his guy's better than the other guy, and Jones goes, no, he's not. Stays outside, does his job, knows where his help is inside, and just beats the ball to the receiver. Wow, what a job by Jonathan Jones.
Ouch. Still 21-6. Adam, we've got Dak Prescott from Mississippi State, Nick Marshall, although this Mississippi State offense has not looked good the last quarter or so.
As bad as Auburn's start was, is as bad as Mississippi State's finish here. I mean, you know, nice start, short fields to start the game, and then 3 straight interceptions to end drives. Of course, that one was on 4th down. The punter threw, but the last 2. I have to say, neither one of these teams are playing like the 2nd and 3rd best teams in the country right now.
Well, you see the clouds overhead. The forecast called for 40% precipitation at 4 o'clock local. And they are looking at the radar to determine if there's lightning in the area. That pass complete to 𝐁𝐿, and forward progress will give him a 1st down.
Inside technique, very conservative. Nice throw to the outside. Easy pitch and catch. Cleveland gave just a little bit too much cushion that time.
1st down 10. Test the middle with Cameron Artis-Payne. Not much.
Artis-Payne, the ball carrier. No gain on the play. 2nd down and 10.
7:10 to go. If you did join us late, Auburn turned it over on its first 2 plays. Both led to touchdowns for Mississippi State. But they've clawed back to within 15 as Mississippi State has returned the favor, turning it over on 3 of the last 4. Stunts to Feshini. I think it might have been tipped. I'm not sure. Marcus Davis, number 80.
Yeah, Benardrick McKinney, number 50, the big inside middle linebacker, does a nice job of getting in on this play and forcing the high throw. McKinney, 6'5", a #1 draft pick coming up. You know, he's one of those guys. I played against a guy when I was young. Brad Van Pelt, played quarterback in high school.
Sure.
Ended up being a linebacker. This is how he is. 6'5", rangy, tough to throw over the top of.
Van Pelt played in the NFL with the Giants. His son played Colorado State. Marshall pumps, goes deep, man and man. 𝐁𝐿 cannot hold on. Will Redmond.
Sure did. Will Redmond is listed as a backup. When you turn on the tape, he catches your eye. Watch him accelerate to the ball, get his hand on that one, and break and not come up with the catch. Nice job. He's also a very good tackler. Number 2, Will Redmond.
Daniel Carlson will come on to punt. And Jamoral Graham, who for the season has returned 8 for a 10.6 average, is back in case he has the opportunity.
Oh, you got to catch that. Oh, he didn't.
Oh, he fumbled it.
Man.
Wow!
True freshman. If you catch it in the air, you don't have to make that mistake.
Fumble on the play, recovered by Auburn.
Brandon King, number 29.
See, he realizes when the ball hits, he should have caught it. Now he tries to save the yardage and make the play, and he doubles up the mistake.
And there's a state player down. Recovery by Auburn.
And remember, Jamion Lewis, number 4, would be the punt returner, but he's hurt for Mississippi State. So the replacement is the true freshman Graham.
That's Desmond Harris, a redshirt freshman.
He dropped one last week against A&M too.
Right.
Well, here we go.
Well, certainly Auburn has had opportunities to pull equal 3 times inside the 10.
4 straight turnovers.
Yeah.
An inexplicable fake punt. Watch a quick snap here now.
Marshall keeps it, gets a block from Uzomah, and keeps going. He scoots down the sidelines. He might have gotten another first down.
And they will hurry up. The whole Auburn team now knows they don't even have to look over at Gus on this one. They know they're going to go hurry up with a first down on first down play.
Ball just outside the 10. Up the middle, it's Corey Grant, number 20. Not much. We near the 6-minute mark in the first half.
And Auburn has already, in the first half, rushed for more yards than they did in the whole game a year ago. It's different yards. You know what? They don't hammer you like they did last year.
Right.
But they still run the ball. Throwback.
Marshall being chased. It's into the end zone for Uzomah, but the defensive play.
Yeah, that's a 𝐁𝐮𝐮𝐫𝐧 play right there.
Yeah, it sure was.
Sprint to the right, throw back to Phillip. The tight end will pretend like he's blocking right here. You get the flow, and he'll try to sneak out the other way. And the comeback.
And Gary makes reference to the late Philip Lutzenkirchen, who died in a car accident on his birthday earlier in the summer. A beloved participant in the history of Auburn football. It's 3rd and 9. Drills it. Got it! Duke Williams. Auburn touchdown.
That just didn't look right. This had to be some kind of mix-up in the secondary. They're doubling to the top and then run right by the slot. I mean, a high school route would have got open here. That just doesn't look right. That's got to be a busted assignment.
Now the extra point.
So many mistakes in this football game so far.
Ooh. Extra point from Carlson is up and good.
Well, something that looked so bad about 45 minutes ago just looks like a one-possession game now.
I go back to your point, though. This doesn't look like number 2 versus number 3.
Not to me. Nope. Can't say it.
Welcome back to Starkville, Mississippi, where Mississippi State was up 21-0, but things like this have given Auburn fresh life. Here's the touchdown, Gary, after the fumble.
You know, great position, 4th down play, good pass protection, and then I think a bust into coverage. You see Matt Wells talking to other guys and going, wait a second, we didn't do that right. That was, like I said, a high school kid could have trotted into the end zone and caught that one.
And a little footnote, Auburn won the toss at the beginning of this afternoon's contest. They deferred, so they will get the football to start the 3rd quarter. We're still 5 minutes and 26 seconds away from that. Darkening skies, but weather people are all over the potential threat of lightning. Sidewinder goes through the end zone. And let's cue the duck here on this early October Saturday. It's time for the Aflac Trivia question of the week. Of course, Auburn is the defending SEC champion, having defeated Missouri in the championship game. Named the last team to win consecutive SEC titles. Not as obvious as you might think. First down 10. Dak Prescott. Robinson goes right. Robinson is followed by Devontae Lambert, number 86, and doesn't get much.
As Vern told you, Auburn gets the ball to start the second half, so it's a critical drive here from Mississippi State.
4 turnovers, last 4 possessions.
It's to the point now where they say, we just like to punt one here.
Yeah. Prescott pulls it down, chased, goes right, lobs it right side. He's not having a good day throwing the ball.
If you look in the back end, it was man-to-man everywhere. I mean, you know, Ellis Johnson challenges his DBs. We're going to cover him. Man-to-man all over the field. Mincy had no help, no safety. It's man-to-man everywhere. 3 guys out, 3 guys covering the best they can.
3rd and 11. Prescott has missed his last 4. He's now 8 of 16, and he's thrown 2 picks. Across the middle, got it. Malcolm Johnson.
Ellis Johnson continues to be aggressive. Puts the pressure on with 5 people rushing, and good execution by Mississippi State. Another well-delivered ball.
Gain of 15, first down 10, 4:38 to go. Option near side, Prescott. That's how to make amends.
Yeah, you really get the feeling with both teams running this spread offense, if the quarterback doesn't run the ball well, they have trouble finding running yards this year. It's not like it was a year ago when Trey Mason would gain all those yards. And Dak Prescott does the same thing. When they need a big running play, it's the quarterback that has to deliver.
Auburn needs a breath, so they take a timeout. Cowbells back in full force. 21-13, Mississippi State rolling right now, but Gary, turnovers on each of their last 4 possessions.
Well, the fake punt kind of started it for Mississippi State. Then after that, an ill-advised back shoulder throw. Good coverage here again from Jonathan Jones, his 2nd consecutive interception, and then kind of a double whammy on a true freshman. Should have caught it and then should have let it go. Made 2 mistakes in 1 play.
That's the most turnovers in 1/2, in the first half rather, since 09 against LSU.
Remember, Auburn only has 1 timeout left. They don't want to give them the ball back. No need to hurry up if you're Mississippi State.
Here's Prescott. Left side. Gabe Miles to the 20. Down at the 16, Jamion Lewis missing the game with a knee injury. It was a game-time position, but Miles.
Excuse me, Vern. Brandon Hill that time on the block actually took 2 Auburn players out by blocking 1 guy. The guy that was playing him man-to-man followed him. He blocked the others for a big play.
First down, Prescott, little pressure, dropped. Malcolm Johnson, we've made so much has been made, not just by us, but Prescott wears number 15 in honor of Tim Tebow, whom he met last week. But he wore number 6 in high school. He wanted number 6 here. It was worn by Malcolm Johnson. So Dak told us yesterday, well, it's number 15. Yeah, I love Tebow, but it's also 1 and 5 equals 6.
There you go.
Satisfied on many counts. Left side. Jamoral Graham, incomplete. Tebow. Tim was here last week. There's Tebow with his offensive coordinator, Dan Mullen. Here's Dak Prescott with his head coach, Dan Mullen, and this was last week. The 3 of them got together. First time they'd ever met. Pete Thamel wrote in a moment.
Auburn given 5 across the board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No safety in the middle.
Here goes Prescott. There goes Prescott. You say something about nobody in the middle?
Yep.
The touchdown comes as the rain begins. Evan Sobiesk is the place kicker. Up and good.
Ben Beckwith did a nice job of getting one block, the left guard, but you know, if you're going to play man-to-man on the outside, you've got no help back here, no help. You get one block inside on a linebacker, and it's a walk-in. One block, 66, it's a walk-in. Chris Frost kind of overruns it, too.
Prescott. Touchdown. Bulldogs. Rapidly. But who cares?
The quarterback and the center do. I'll tell you that right now.
Right.
And Allie does probably.
Yeah, you bet. Well, she's an old veteran of this. Georgia, South Carolina. Our first SEC game this year. This is Ricardo Lewis.
Great run.
Yeah, you bet. Now, cue the duck, and let's give you the Aflac answer. The Aflac, yeah, the duck is very comfortable today. The last team to win consecutive SEC titles go back to the late 90s. And the team was Tennessee. A guy named Peyton Manning led them to that 97 championship, and a guy named T. Martin led them to the national title in 98 with Philip Fulmer as the coach. 28-13, 3:50 to go. Design quarterback draw. Marshall about 4. Richie Brown made the tackle. It was Richie Brown who last week had 3 interceptions to tie an MSU school record and become the SEC Defensive Player of the Week. 3 picks in last week's win. Marshall pumps once. Goes deep. Oh, he's got a man wide open. And he overthrows into with Sammy Coates.
Pretty great throw, though. I mean, you know, you're throwing the ball 50 yards downfield. You figure Sammy Coates, who's been really hampered all year with a little bit of a knee problem, I thought he was going to run this one down. And I think Sammy Coates thought he was going to run it down, too. Beautifully designed play. It was like a fake square in, and he went deep. And you see the arm strength from Nick Marshall on that throw right there.
Third and 6.
Run it. He can run it.
Yep.
No, he's not going to get. Wow.
Bumped out of bounds. It'll be 4th down. Christian Holmes, number 44. Defending.
And how he closed on Nick Marshall right there. I thought he had space. And then Christian Holmes just closed that space up. I thought he could make it, and I was wrong. Again, that's the 1B group at linebacker. Remember, the first group has a top 15 draft pick playing middle linebacker.
Yes. 4th and 3, Daniel Carlson on to punt. This is his 3rd of the ball game.
And I bet he lets this one go.
Yeah.
I'm not that dumb, right? I'm a quick learner. I can figure this out. Remember, he's subbing for a pretty good player. They're missing Lewis in this game. They're outstanding slot receiver.
Well, life in the SEC continues not only for the 14 teams, but for our SEC on CBS broadcast crew. We look forward to this one. Texas A&M at Alabama from Tuscaloosa, 3:30 Eastern Time next Saturday. And it'll all begin with the Auto Trader College Football Today show at 3 o'clock Eastern as we continue to roll in 2014, the SEC on CBS. Here's Prescott. Quarterback draw. Got some room left side. And he's out of bounds with the first down.
You know, I know he's wearing number 15, and I get it. He's a superior thrower to Tim Tebow.
Right.
I mean, he really is. I do not think he's as fast as Cam Newton, though. He's a little bit, but, you know, Cam Newton doesn't run that fast in the NFL anymore. He's got the type of frame and throwing arm that the NFL is going to be very intrigued with. Will he go number 1? Of course not.
Motion by everybody except Dylan Day. Yep, go ahead, Gary.
But he's got great character.
And 5-yard penalty remains first down.
Thunder.
And as you see it, it must not be lightning because I know they close this thing down.
Yeah, they monitor it very, very carefully. And if there is a lightning strike within 8 miles of the stadium, the game will be postponed.
Well, remember last week, the turnover at the end of the half, Alabama-Mississippi game.
This is the bowling ball. Robinson, we go down to Allie LaForce.
Thanks, Vern. Everybody's reacting down here like they're just eating it up. It's such a...
Well, the weather affected Allie's report.
Allie, do not stand in the water. Get on something dry. Put your rubber-soled shoes on.
She is a graduate of Ohio University. She will be as dry as she can be. 2nd and 7. Wow.
Yeah.
Prescott.
Not surprised.
Yeah.
They're going to keep it in the hands of their 2 guys they trust the most, Josh Robinson and Dak Prescott.
1:25 to go. Just to finish the story I started, he's a big admirer of Tebow, right?
Yep.
Well, Pete Thamel of Sports Illustrated spent a week with these guys week before. And a little tidbit that I found in one of his reports, Dak Prescott's dog, a lab, is named Tebow. T-I-B-E-A-U-X. He is from Louisiana, after all. Yep. 3rd and 2. Play action, chased, missed, lets it go, got a man out of the backfield, fumbles out of bounds. That was Gus Wally, number 19.
Prescott's pass is number 19, Gus Wally.
Short yardage play, big hit by Jonathan Ford that time, coming up, beautifully fitted, wraps him up, puts his helmet right on the football, and a good break for Mississippi State.
We will start the clock on my 6.
Now, Tom Ritter's microphone affected by the weather. By the way, we have confirmed with the weather staff that it's heavy rain, but there is no lightning that accompanies this storm. That's, of course, I'm saying that we're dry up here.
Yeah.
Unlike Allie. Yeah.
I've got to tell you the truth. If I was Mississippi State, I think I'd just take a knee.
I so agree.
I mean, yeah, they got timeouts left, but it is a driving rainstorm. They've turned the ball over on multiple times. Get out of the half. You know, 28-13 is not a bad half. And they're going to do it. They're just going to take a knee. It's getting slippery.
Yeah.
I mean, why make one of those mistakes like Ole Miss
False
made?
start. 66 offense. It's a 5-yard penalty and also carries a 10-second runoff. Please reset the game clock to 21 seconds.
I wonder if the band will march.
Well, to protect the field, they might not let them out.
Exactly. And that will be the final play. Despite 4 turnovers, and because Auburn turned it over twice in the first 2 plays, we find ourselves with a 28-13 score at halftime. Let's go down to Allie LaForce.
Coach, you get out to a quick 21-0 lead. Why did you decide to fake the punt?
Well, we thought we had it out there, you know. I mean, we didn't come to make it close. We came to win a big game, and we're going to pull out all the stops and go for it, and we didn't hit it.
After you turn the ball over on 4 straight possessions, Dak comes down big with the touchdown. What does that tell you?
I mean, and this is a big game. You can't be turning the ball over that. We're just throwing it away. You know, I mean, we had a couple more opportunities to score, and we would have liked to do that, but you know, our guys are still battling. Even with the turnovers, they're doing what we need to do to make plays to win.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
And now time for Garrett's pass.
Yeah, I guess, except I thought Auburn was in punt safe. You know, aggressive is aggressive, but sometimes punting the ball is better.
And now Garrett
Oh, to be a student.
12-yard line.
We're at halftime. Let's go to Adam Zucker in our New York studio. There's good news. The plane is back airborne. The rain has subsided, if not ceased completely. It's 28-13. Mississippi State leads. Now let's go inside the headset. Powered by AT&T, official sponsor of the SEC. Here's
turnovers defined that first half. How'd you address them?
Yeah, there's no doubt. The very first 2 times we had the ball, we turned the ball over, got in a hole. Now we got to find ourselves out of the hole. And I feel good about what our chances right now. Our guys are going to play hard, and they're going to believe.
Coach, 28 points is the most you've allowed in an entire game this season, let alone a half. How do you buckle down defensively?
Well, we're going to have to. This is the best team we played so far, and that quarterback's amazing. We got to find a way to keep them off balance, and we got to get some stops.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
All right, Allie, thank you. Gus Malzahn, and Auburn will get the ball to open this third quarter. The cowbells back out, a slight splash of blue overhead. And the enthusiasm certainly not diminished by the rain, but it seems to have quieted quite a bit. 28-13. Another fine kickoff through the end zone, touchback. Auburn gets it at the 20. Well, not at all what we expected, Gary, I don't think. 2 turnovers by Auburn, 4 by Mississippi State. How can you explain all that?
You know, big game, I guess, number one. But, you know, if you look a little bit closer at the stats, there was rushing yards, but it was mostly produced by the quarterback. You know, Auburn ran for 65 yards if it wasn't Nick Marshall. Mississippi State rushed for only 51 yards if it wasn't Dak Prescott. So when you put that much pressure, no easy yards. Neither team is handling the front 4 very well in this football game, so they're having to take chances, and it's producing mistakes.
On 1st and 10 at the 20. Looks like Rock Thomas, number 9, is at running back. Marshall comes right side, has Quan Bray open. And that's a very positive gain on first down. Jamerson Love, number 5, defending.
Gain of 7 yards. Taken down by Jamerson Love. 2nd down and 3.
Marshall. Jamerson, Rock Thomas, rather. Wow. Ryan Brown.
Now, Auburn tried to go up-tempo. As you look at Nick Marshall's pass chart right there, you can see no easy throws. Nothing short. The Mississippi State team is forcing the ball down the field. They're not giving any cheap yardage to him.
Now the Bulldogs have 4 down. It's 3rd down and 6 on the opening series. Here comes the rush down the left side. It's caught.
What a
Sammy Coates. They misfired on one in the first half, but Coates with a huge gain.
See, that's what the 2 teams are doing. They're challenging the quarterback to throw the ball downfield, and they're saying, I don't think you can do it. And this time, ball is put right on the money, and Calhoun really never had a chance. I mean, that's not awful coverage. When a ball is thrown 50 yards downfield, the receiver's going to get open by a stride.
Pass interference. Offense, number 18. 15-yard penalty. Remains third down.
Wow.
I didn't look for it, to tell you the truth, but let's see if we can see it. Both players stuck their arm out. That would have been a good no call. And you know, the official that called that was on the Auburn sideline. It's not like the Mississippi State players were in his ear. I'm sorry, but I'm agreeing with Gus on this one. Both players stuck their arm out. I thought that should have been a good no call. It had no effect on the player. He never broke stride. I thought Calhoun was trying to stick his arm out too.
That wipes out a 68-yard gain. Instead of first and goal, it's 3rd and 20.
Yeah, and the best throw of the day by Nick Marshall, too. What a pass.
Quarterback draw. Hauled down at the 21. Matt Wells, who's had a very significant presence defensively. Wow.
Well, it is what it is. Remember, Ole Miss last week caught a call that didn't go their way, and they fought back from it. Auburn's just going to have to forget that call. Judgment call on the sideline, and it was seen as pass interference by the offense.
Daniel Carr, oh dear. Brendan King.
You know, 2 penalties. The next one not as bad as the first one. I mean, 5 yards there isn't the end of the world, but you could see Gus Malzahn, he's still on the first one.
Well, I could read his lips. He said, that's as bad as I've ever seen.
Well, I didn't think it should have been pass interference. No. I have to be honest.
After the 5-yard walk-off, here's Carlson. And this is Jamorro Graham, who has fumbled once. He keeps this one, but is knocked down by Brandon King. Well, Gus Malzahn how do you call that?
You know, Vern, remind me not to talk behind your back if you can see my lips, because you're pretty good at this.
I do have a filter, you know, so if they go a certain direction.
If I'm saying something, I'm going to get way away from you.
I'm going to lay out. Well, it questionable to be kind.
It should have, my opinion, should have been incidental.
Yep. Josh Robinson, Gary, take us through our halftime trend.
Well, it's the 2 quarterbacks. We talked about it in the on-camera that, you know, all the rushing yards are coming from the quarterbacks, throwing obviously, but rushing a big part of the offense, these 2 guys, and then the story that Allie addressed, the turnovers.
Prescott. Gabe Miles takes
nice
the tackle. That was a secure tackle. Second one. Jonathan Jones.
Jonathan Jones has had really an A game so far in this football game. 2 interceptions and a great wrap-up tackle. You know, we talked about Nick's passing yards. Those gimme short throws, those bubble screen throws, both teams aggressively taking that away from the quarterbacks.
3rd and 1. It'll be Prescott.
You sure that's Prescott? Or is that Cam Newton? You know, I talked to defensive coordinators for years when Tebow was the quarterback at Florida and when Cam Newton was the quarterback at Auburn. And they all said the same thing. When you're playing against these big, rangy, tough quarterbacks, it's like it's 1st and 8 because they almost have a first down every time.
You mean like that?
Yes, because on 3rd and 2 or 4th and 1, it's really tough to stop that big load of a quarterback.
On Monday night in Atlanta, Nancy and I had a chance to have dinner with an old friend, Dan Reeves, former coach of the Falcons, the Giants, and the Broncos. He had watched all of last week's Mississippi State game, and he said he's the closest thing to Cam Newton I've seen.
I agree. He doesn't have quite the arm talent of Newton.
Right. Well, there's some help coming. First to contact Chris Frost.
But you know, he was a lightly recruited player until late in the process. You know, Dan Mullen also recruited Cam Newton at Florida. He said that Dak reminded him Cam Newton was lightly recruited at Florida as well.
Well, Prescott committed his junior year and then got a late rush from LSU, his home state school. Many thought he might decommit and go to LSU, and he said, nope, I'm going to honor my word.
High.
That one's a little high. Well, Dan Mullen, we mentioned, started at Bowling Green, followed Urban Meyer to Utah. Alex Smith, Brian Johnson, whom he recruited and is now his quarterback coach. There's Tebow, 4 years with Tim, and Dak Prescott.
Yeah, and he coached Cam, and then of course Cam left and went to junior college and ended up at Auburn, obviously.
When a lot of people thought he might come to Mississippi State. Here's the punt. Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. Calhoun bumped into a teammate, and it helped.
Well, Calhoun survived one on the deep ball on the pass interference, and then this time he grabs it and avoids Love. That's not a bad thing to do.
It is, as you know, Super Social Saturday, and that song by Blue Oyster Cult prompted a Saturday Night Live parody about the cowbell. For more, let's check in with Allie LaForce.
Thanks, Vern. As you know, it is Super Social Saturday at CBS, so I've been watching Twitter, and former Mississippi State player Jonathan Banks tweeted, "More cowbells, please," with exclamation points. He even used the cow emoticon. And of course, I can explain to you later what an emoticon is, Vern, but remember, tell us how you celebrate by using the hashtag AU versus MSST, and we're going to put the best tweet on the air.
There they are. In South Africa, they're called vuvuzelas. Not really. Dismukes over the ball at the 1. Marshall, a lot of protection deep. And there,
that's interference.
That's got to be a flag.
Absolutely.
Sammy Coates. And the call is on Will Redmond. And remember, it's not the point of the penalty in college ball.
You know, Sammy Coates here realized he wasn't going to get to the ball. He knew he was interfered, and he just looked right at the official.
15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Redmond says that's on me, or something approximate to that.
Was really a gambling defense for Mississippi State too. They played man-to-man coverage. You know, 99 yards on that play. Redmond had him all over the field. That's a tough matchup.
Chris Jones on the field. Haven't mentioned his name much. Left side, Coates.
Yeah, and there's a tackle.
At the 21, Redmond.
He is a great tackler. Not a huge man, you know, 180 pounds maybe. But look at him come up and wrap up. When you watch the tape, he does it all game.
2nd down 4. Ricardo Lewis with a block on the edge. Cameron Artis-Payne. That's a 1st down, Auburn. C.J. Uzomah got the clearing block.
Yeah, Bᴜʟʟᴏ Brown that time knew exactly where that play was going. He anticipated, he got there, and he still couldn't make the tackle.
28-13, 9:15 to go, 3rd quarter. Rained heavily late second quarter. Looks like we might have a little precip still falling. It's first down 10, Auburn, trailing by 15.
I don't know if Redmond tipped off a corner blitz here. Oh, look at Auburn's going to change the play. One of the officials was running in to call, the coaches, and he fell down.
Ouch.
I think it was Rhett Lashley, the offensive coordinator.
First charge timeout.
So time is called by Auburn with 8:49 to go in the third. Here's Prescott. He's thrown 2 picks, but he's been effective. Auburn has the ball. They were about to run a play. Gary, take us through the last couple of minutes of Rhett Lashley's life.
Well, here it is. Here's Rhett Lashley, the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. He realizes they don't have the right plan, and the clock is running down. He wipes out, but still calls a timeout. Gus Malzahn goes, Rhett, I got it. Relax.
Rhett Lashley was a high school quarterback at Shiloh Christian in Arkansas. His high school head coach, Gus Malzahn. First down 10. Marshall batted back in his face. Nelson Adams, number 94.
Well, this is a quick pass to the outside, and nobody blocks him. That's got to be a busted assignment. Auburn on a quick pass like that, you got to take the legs out of the front 4 defensive linemen. Nothing fancy. 4 guys up there, block them. You got 5 offensive linemen.
Second down 10.
Matt Wells this time is in a position to blitz here. Let's see if he's coming. Odd that he's there for that reason.
Got a slot receiver lower part. That's Duke Williams. Marshall slings it other side. Sandy Coates. It's going to be very close depending on the spot for a first down.
Boy, Nick Marshall's cool. When he starts riding up in that pocket, he keeps his eyes downfield and finds an easy throw.
And it is called a first down 10 at the 41. 28-13, third quarter. Little sidearm toss. Duke Williams went for the takeaway, and Williams with a huge gain.
See, here's one of these throws that make it so difficult in modern offense. There's no way you can put any pressure on the quarterback. It's a 1-yard throw and a big gain.
And so they have set at the line of scrimmage. The handoff, Cameron Artis Payne double teamed and downed. Matt Wells.
Yeah, Matt Wells cleaned it up. The secondary player, yeah, I think it was Market. Kendrick Market made the tackle, and Wells cleaned it up.
Second down 5, 28-13. This drive began at the 1
inch.
Yeah, that's right. Toss. Rock Thomas tries to stiff arm and doesn't get much out of it.
You know what you haven't seen much in this game is Auburn getting outside of this defense. And when you talked to the Mississippi State staff, they said, number 1, when you're playing Auburn, you cannot let them get to the edge. You have to defend the width of the field first, because they'll embarrass you if they run wide.
First down 10. 7:18 to go. Right side, Rock Thomas with the spin. True freshman out of Oxford, Alabama, coming into the game. He had 13 carries. We were told yesterday by Rhett Lashley that he might get more playing time today, and indeed he has. Much more than Corey Grant, listed as the backup.
We're going to do a quick huddle right now.
Here they go. Dismukes snaps it. Marshall keeps it. Tries to get around the corner and cannot. Boy, Preston Smith did a heck of a job of stringing Marshall out.
Same thing. Look at Mississippi State keep outside leverage. They keep the blocker on their inside arm, and they make the play to the outside. Wonderful job. Great fundamentals. Forces a 3rd and 9.
See the ineffectiveness of Auburn's offense and the effectiveness of the Bulldog defense on 3rd down. 2 of 8 so far. 3rd and 9 here. That one. Oh, it's caught. Duke Williams, a 99-yard drive.
Marshall's pass is completed to Williams.
They had good coverage on Duke Williams. He adjusted, jumped back, and made the catch. The ball was like a back shoulder throw in the middle of the field. That's athletic ability and confidence in a receiver. And again, there's no defense for that kind of stuff.
A little too early to go for 2. So they will settle for the extra point try.
Yep, that would make it a 1-possession game. 8 points.
Up and good. So in this 3rd quarter, Auburn had a 68-yard gain, wiped out by a questionable pass interference call offense.
Right.
Now they go 99 yards.
It's Zach Johnson on Duke Williams right there. Now watch, good coverage inside. He's got him, got a safety in the middle, ball's thrown. Hey, that's just a good football player. Ball to the outside, and he jumps up, catches it, gets it into the end zone. That's why they recruit those 6'3" guys that can catch the ball.
Nick Marshall, Duke Williams, you deserve a hug today to be a part of the show on Tuesday night. 28-20, 6:09. If you weren't with us at the opening of this game, Auburn turned it over on the first few plays. Mississippi State scored on each. They led 21-0 at the end of the first. We now have an 8-point margin midway through the 3rd. Daniel Carlson will kick. And it's a good one. Halfway into the end zone. Brandon Holloway. Well, how about the quarterback comparison today?
Well, both of them are emerging, as we talked about most of the game, as the main weapon of the football game. We started in the open. We talked about it at halftime. Both coordinators understand it, but they're elite athletes. And remember, when you look at Nick Marshall right there, he had what? A 68-yarder called back on a perfect throw.
6:09 to go. Ball at the 25. Prescott back. Right side. Caught. That's Fred Ross, a sophomore. Number 8 out of Tyler, Texas. Gain of 11.
That was nice protection that time for Prescott. Gets in the pocket. No one in his face. He looks left, looks right, able to deliver the ball.
There's the carry from Josh Robinson. Ben Bradley, number 50, wrapped him up. That was a first down play. Ross hurries onto the offensive huddle. 2 wide left, 1 wide right. 2nd and 6. Up the middle it goes. Robinson.
Robinson, the ball carrier.
Interesting, Dan Mullen is trying to give a little bit of tempo back to Auburn. If there's any team in college football that is used to handling tempo, it is Auburn. They're the best substituting team on defense I've ever seen. They are so comfortable with the up-tempo.
Ellis Johnson, the defensive coordinator. He's one of the best in the business. 3rd and 3.
Yeah, they've been blitzing all game. Will they do it again on 3rd down? Yep.
Here they come. Scott chased out, pulls up, lets it go. Incomplete.
And there's no free safety in the middle of the field. Dak Prescott, they are challenging him. They're challenging those receivers, and he gets pressured and has to just throw the ball away because he had no chance with 𝐭𝐻𝐿 running him down. Oh, there's a flag on the field, isn't there? There's Ellis Johnson, the gray-haired guy, right there. I don't know if they called it.
Well, Daniel was the first. Chris Frost came up.
Yeah, I don't know. They couldn't be intentional grounding because he was outside of the pocket and the ball crossed the line of scrimmage.
Over here, Tom.
There is no foul for intentional grounding. The quarterback was outside the pocket and threw the ball beyond the line of scrimmage.
Pretty good, Gary. Pretty good. You'll look good in stripes.
No, I don't think they're going to hire me.
Well, Steve Shaw just called. You've got the job. Steve Shaw is the coordinator of officials for the SEC. And so on 4th down, Logan Cook, again, Devin Bell.
Okay, it's just a rugby kick.
Okay. He did try a pass on a fake in the second quarter that really, in my mind, when it was intercepted, became one of the key plays of this Auburn comeback.
Well, they didn't get anything out of it, but I really think it hurt the whole feeling of Mississippi State.
28-20. In Starkville, a lot of discussion about the college playoffs. Gary's got kind of a different take on this.
Yeah. I don't know who's good. That's the way I look at it. Here's the way I say. At the start of the year, we had 5 power conferences in Notre Dame. We had 65 teams that controlled their own destiny like Auburn did last year. Right now, my #1 seed, we're down to 10, and I can start crossing off teams right now. We're down to 9 right here because they're out, okay? The #2 seed, if Notre Dame wins out, they're in, okay? They will be in.
All right.
They still play Florida State, obviously. This team's out, so we're down to 8 teams controlling their own destiny right now. And the last team, I don't know if Arizona's any good, but if they win the rest of their games, they're in. Outside looking in, Baylor TCU needs help, should happen. Florida State plays Notre Dame, and the Big Ten needs a little bit more help. They need 2 teams above them to lose, and that's not counting the SEC because the SEC is getting the team in.
We did videotape all that, just to remind you.
Send your complaints to Vern Lundquist.
Cameron Artis-Payne breaks a tackle. Marshall, I beg your pardon. 14, not 44.
Nick Marshall, the ball carrier.
Keeps it, avoids it. Remember, he's not going to run over people. He's a different style. Vern, this is the first time that Auburn has had the ball with a 1-score difference, okay, since the second play of the game.
That's right. A reminder that they turned it over twice on the first 2 plays. Marshall gets a block to Uzama and then a tackle by Tevez Calhoun.
Again, this Mississippi State defense is committed to not allowing Auburn to get outside of them. Now, they've got other holes. The passing game is good for Auburn, but the one thing you're not seeing is those jet sweeps and those just kind of running around the defense. Nothing to the outside.
2nd and 9. Caught. Duke Williams. DeKeel is his legal name. Called by Duke. First year at Auburn.
And so well read by both the receiver and the quarterback that time. This Duke Williams guy, he's going to be playing football for a long time.
#1 junior college wide receiver this year. There's Uzama in the backfield, number 81. Now he goes to the left side. Cameron Artis-Payne is behind Marshall. Marshall low and outside. Now let's go to the studio for this Ford update. Here's Adam.
All right, Vern and Gary, you mentioned Notre Dame. They're in trouble at home again. First play after Everett Golson's 3rd turnover. Quinshaw Davis, the wide receiver, off the reverse, throwing it to the quarterback, Marquise Williams. They lead by 1 in South Bend, guys.
Second down and 10 here with 3:04 to go.
I can only listen. I can't help them win.
No, okay.
It's up to them.
You've done your part.
Exactly. Let's say this. We got a long way to go.
Marshall pumps twice. Too high. Third down 10. Intended for Duke Williams as the rain comes down hard for the second time in the ballgame.
Niquez Brown, number 42, did a great job of reading Nick Marshall's eyes and putting his body in the throwing lane. That forced the high throw.
I like that guy's outfit. Proper style choice for today. Third and 10. Fake reverse. Marshall deep down the middle. Overthrows his intended receiver. Sammy Coates, fourth down.
Well, I thought Devon Coleman, number 11, might get a targeting there. I was like, ooh, because they had a receiver just laid out there, and I thought, oh no.
Here's Jamoral Graham. Carlson. Fifth punt of the ball game. Fair catch. Called and taken at the 14-yard line. 37-yard punt. Remember that grease board that Allie talked about in the first half? Well, we got a little more. Here's Allie.
The defensive staff for Mississippi State is getting very frustrated because, as Jeff Collins told us earlier this week, they like to draw pictures on cards and use that to teach the kids their different plays, to teach the players their different plays, excuse me. So they want to draw those same pictures on the dry erase board, but because of the rain, they can't get the pictures on there. So what David Turner, the defensive line coach, did was he flipped it over and started using the marker on the cardboard side of it, but they've been trying to clean it off ever since the rain started.
Improvisation. First down 10. Prescott pulls it back. Chased, has to let it go. There's a battle, and it's tipped away by Jonathan Mincy, number 6. Devontae Lambert had the pressure on Prescott.
Yeah, and then Prescott, I thought, was just trying to throw this ball away, and all of a sudden, De'Runnya Wilson is in position to maybe grab this thing. Jonathan Mincy might be their best cover guy, but today, Jonathan Jones is having a brilliant football game.
Indeed. Second and 10. Prescott out to Robinson in the flat. First down, plus a couple of yards.
See, those are those type of plays that you may call it a pass, but it's just a glorified run right here. And when you've got a running back, the way Josh Robinson can catch the ball, he's really valuable.
Malcolm Johnson with the block out in front of Robinson. First down 10, a 13-yard gain. Prescott pitch, fumble. Robinson lucky. He got a fortuitous bounce. And we've got an official down.
Yeah, I think there was about 40,000 people that dropped their cowbells when that ball landed on the ground. You could just hear all the cowbells hit the ground. It was like, he kicked it forward with his knee.
Right.
And everybody's now picking up their cowbells right now.
Well, Tim Beard was the line judge who joined Rhett Lashley in the Oops, I'm on the Ground club. Second down 12. They bunch the receivers top of the screen and bottom as well. Pitch it. Robert Johnson. Ooh.
I'll tell you, Jonathan Jones almost made a play. He read it. As Vern told you earlier, he might be the fastest guy in this secondary, and he almost got there for another tackle for a loss. Great recognition. So will Ellis Johnson gamble with man-to-man coverage? Will he try to pressure him?
Look at the even selection by Mississippi State.
Nobody in the middle of the field. There's
Again.
not a free safety out there.
There's Prescott, pressured from the backside. Got him. Angelo Blackson, number 98. That's his first sack of the season.
I mean, you talk about a defensive coordinator rolling the dice. I mean, there's all 11 guys within 9 yards of the football. They're all matched up. They're all playing man-to-man with no help deep.
And so on 4th down, Logan Cook, the freshman, on to punt again. Fᴏᴏ is back. He's returned 2 for touchdowns this year. Rugby-style kick. And a fair catch called and taken at the 36. And now Red Lobster presents today's Scholar Athlete. Richie Brown was 3 picks last week, majoring in industrial technology. He also plays the grand piano, and you can follow his beard on Twitter at Richie's Beard. This is, after all, Super Social Saturday. Red Lobster's commitment to the investment of our future, shown by donating $1,000 to the Bulldogs General Scholarship Fund. 1st and 10. 8-point margin. Marshall pumps and then goes deep. Receiver slips at the 30-yard line. It was Fᴏᴏ.
You know, Vern, when it was 21-0, Gus Malzahn was looking around and going, you know, we're in a hostile environment, but we should be able to have the experience to handle it. That Kansas State game early in the year that everybody worried about now should be able to pay off for this football team. Because I can tell you, I've been in Manhattan, Kansas. It's loud there too. They survived that game, so it should help them in a game like this.
See what happens on what could be the last play of the 3rd quarter. It's Marshall, stiff arm. He got about 6.
Yeah, but put it into 3rd and medium for an opportunity to make a 1st down.
25 seconds to go. 28-20. Nearing the final quarter. Third and 4. See if they get the play called. Snap is made. Marshall, too high. Intended for Fᴏᴏ.
Yeah, that was interesting. You would have thought that Auburn would say, let's get it to, you know, the end of the quarter, talk it over, and make a big call. They did not. Bad throw, and it's going to be 4th down.
That's about 4 throws in the 3rd quarter that were high, and thus incomplete. That's the end of 3. With our score 28-20 Mississippi State. Back to Starkville after this word from your local station. We welcome you back to Starkville. We begin the 4th quarter. 28-20, a 4th down forthcoming. That's enough 4s. Vern Lundquist, Gary Danielson, Allie LaForce in this battle of number 2 and number 3. Auburn down 21-0 at the end of 1, and they have come back to make it a 1-score game. 4th and 5. Daniel Carlson is on the punt. Jamoral Graham is the deep man for Mississippi State. Fair catch. Called for and taken inside the 25-yard line. Well, 360-some yards of offense from Mississippi State first half. 52 third quarter.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, since the 21 points, you know, for the last 2 quarters, Auburn's held them to 1 touchdown,
right.
7 points. I mean, they shut them out in the 3rd quarter. Auburn's a very experienced 4th quarter football team. Mississippi State has not had a close game in the 4th quarter yet. You know, LSU got close late,
right?
But they had a big lead. Let's see how the experienced Auburn team handles the 4th quarter versus a rather new team handling the pressure in the 4th quarter.
Well, a good start as Robinson wiggles his way into the secondary. Well, an all-time attendance record today. Kind of expected that. 62,945 at Davis-Wade Stadium, celebrating the 100th year. It's really called Scott Field Davis-Wade Stadium. There's another handoff. Robinson
upright.
Well, this time, 𝐁𝐮𝐿, number 675, gets the key block, and then Robinson kind of refuses to go down. Devontae Lambert tries to make a ball tackle instead of grabbing Robinson. Very fortunate he didn't squirt out for more yardage.
Into the flat. Gabe Miles, another first down. Gabe Miles getting the start for the second week in a row because of the injury to Jamion Lewis.
Yeah, and Jamion Lewis is one of their game breakers, you know, on this team. He's a touchdown maker. Miles is more of a first down maker.
Well, keep it in the hands of Robinson. Chris Frost with the tackle.
Look, it's not like if you're Dan Mullen calling a play, you know exactly what you're going to get. I mean, Ellis Johnson's going to blitz you and play man coverage. I mean, so when you call the play, it's not like it's any secret. Call the play because you know what's coming.
Second down and 7. Nick Griffin, number 7, is on the field. Well, we understand the chain crew might be tangled up on the far side. That'll slow down your up-tempo offense.
Yeah.
Now, we mentioned a while ago they were a little slow moving that chain, given the nature offensively of both these teams.
It's one of the major differences with the NFL. They allow it to get set. In college ball, they go and catch up. I actually think the SEC does a better job of controlling and monitoring and making uniform the up-tempo so everybody can anticipate what's going on. I think all of the officials have done a good job of understanding it and making sure that as a coach you can depend on uniformity within the league.
Well, they're waiting to establish exactly, I think, where the ball should be spotted. Dan Mullen, 6th year here. Gus Malzahn, 2nd year at Auburn. Two guys with big college backgrounds.
Yep. Big offensive coordinator college background.
Yeah. Mullen, a graduate of Ursinus College, a smallish tight end with a Division III school. Gus Malzahn, 14 years, a high school coach in Arkansas, had a brilliant record. He's had 2 head coaching opportunities. One at Arkansas State and his second at Auburn. I think we're set and ready to go. Now they've established the spot. Now Dylan Day, number 63, over the ball on 2nd and 8. Prescott, play action.
Nice.
Oh,
interference, no, but it was a great job by Therese that time. They tried to gimmick a quick screen to the outside. And number 27, Rob Therese, does a great job of reading it and getting in front of Miles. Pushes him 1-2. Well, we've seen less than that called on offensive pass interference.
came to my mind.
Yes.
3rd and 8.
Remember, Dan Mullen told us in a meeting he does not love his field goal kicker. Remember, he turned down a field goal late against LSU because he just didn't trust it.
Sobieski is 2 of 3 for the year with a long of 28. That's Evan Sobieski.
It'll be 43 from here if they don't gain a yard.
Coverage. Prescott forced right. Chase lets it go.
I don't know. He stepped out.
Stepped out.
Yep.
And 2 officials agree that he stepped out. It'll be an incomplete pass.
The running back Nick Griffin, I don't think he caught it anyway, did he? Yeah, he might have, but he was clearly out. You could see the footprint in the white.
Yep. There's Evan Sobieski. He's a sophomore from Hattiesburg.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to go. I think they're just going to go for it. Just doesn't love his kicker.
So they will go for it on 4th and 8. 5 wide. 3 to the right, 2 to the left.
That's why I'm surprised the third down play wasn't a run call. I think Dan Mullen took a timeout there.
Timeout. Timeout. Mississippi State. That is their first charge timeout of this half.
Both teams now with 2 timeouts remaining. We have 13-12 remaining in the ball game. 4th and 8 when we come back.
And now it's time for our Geico game recap.
Battle of number 2 and number 3. And here's the first touchdown of the game. It came after a turnover. Second play, another turnover. Robinson touchdown, 14-0. A long drive, cemented by Prescott's run, 21-zip. And then it became a little bit of craziness here. A total of 6 first half turnovers. 2 committed by Auburn, and 4, including this 4th down fake punch pass interception. And Nick Marshall, 6 of 13 for 73 yards. That cut the margin to 21-13. Here's Prescott. 3 total touchdowns in the first half, 28-13. And then Duke Williams. This after a 99-yard drive, 15-yard touchdown. And that's where we stand right now, 28-20. And how about this decision by Dan Mullen?
I would kick a field goal if it was me. I mean, they may get it, but it's 4th and 8. You're a major college football team. You got an 8-point lead. If you kick a field goal, you're up 11.
Well, Sobieski, the kicker, as we said, 2 of 3. The 2 kicks he's made, 27 and 28.
And it's man-to-man all over the field.
4th and 8. They load up with 4 to the right. Marshall, deep left side. Jones called interference. Oh, the way Jones is reacting, it might be offensive.
I'll tell you, that Jonathan Jones is a battler. He's got a tough matchup. Yeah, it's going to be Jones.
15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
It was early. He put his hand on his shoulder early, right there. They're going to call it this time. I think it's a good call.
Now, Jones, for a moment, thought it was going to go against Wilson. It did not. So, 2 critical pass interference calls. One was an offensive call.
Yeah, they went a 6'5" player against a 5'10" player. But if he had not put his arm up early, they might have called offensive pass interference. But he bailed out the referee and interfered early.
Prescott chased.
Oh, no.
Knocked away. Boy, is Jones having some ball game.
Well, that was a brutal play that time by Dak Prescott. First down play, he throws this ball up, and he's very fortunate that De'Runnya Wilson knocked this ball down. That one needed to go to the tuba section. It's out there just to the left of that play.
2nd down 10, 13 minutes to go.
Unbalanced line here, kind of an odd formation. Yeah, it's
inside, little Utah pass.
Yeah.
That's Malcolm Johnson.
You could see something different there. They had the receivers at the line of scrimmage to free up an inside defender, a receiver, excuse me. And it was a very well-designed play and a good call by Dan Mullen.
3rd down 1.
Yeah, watch out for the jump pass here.
You mean like Tebow? It looked like he thought about it.
They were going to do it.
Yeah.
They were going to do it.
Yep. Devontae Lambert.
Now what do you do? Yeah, Malcolm Johnson got off late. they were going to do it. Now you just wonder, I mean, you knew it was, Dan Mullen was thinking about it, but you wonder if they should have just bombed it in there with a 230-pound player.
They had brought the field goal kicker on.
Yeah.
Evan Sobiesk out of Hattiesburg, sophomore, as we said. He's made 27 and 28 yarders. He missed from 42. Dak Prescott, it should be noted, is the holder. This from 21, and it is good.
That was a really good drive by Mississippi State. 10 plays, 75 yards.
Had it all the way. The lead is 11. That'll bring a smile to your face. 31-20 the score. Don't forget, later in the game, the play of the game, presented by Napa Auto Parts. We've huddled up here, down in the truck. We have reached no decision.
Well,
inconclusive evidence.
Right. We do know that if we can call the jump pass, I guess Auburn watched some tape too, basically, right? Because they were ready for it. And listen, everybody who watches football loves to second guess. You got to wonder if Dan Mullen right now is second guessing himself, said I should have just slammed the big guy in there. Take my chances.
Right, yeah. Here is the kickoff. Taken at the goal line by Ricardo Lewis. He's had a part in some heroics in an Auburn uniform. Oh, it's loose. Forget the heroics. Turnover. Lewis with a fumble.
It looked so innocent, didn't it? It looked like no big deal, and then stripped right at the end. Now, you know the Auburn coaches are saying forward progress. Was he stopped? He fights, he spins, he gets put. No, I think he wasn't. He was going back, but it was right on the line. I think it's a good strip.
Quadri Antoine stripped it. Matt Wells recovered it.
I mean, Gus Malzahn wants to challenge it. I don't think you can challenge forward progress. I don't think that's a challengeable call.
Another look at Ricardo Lewis.
It looks so innocent. It looks like he just go down right here, but he turns and fights, and then it's ripped just as he starts back. Now, did he have the ball when he fell down? Did he have possession? That's interesting. I did not see that.
Yeah.
Did he have possession? I don't think he had possession of it, though.
No.
I really don't. And that's what I think Gus is challenging.
The Auburn coach is challenging the ruling on the field of a fumble. The prior play is under further review.
No, I don't think he had. Now, when you go stop, if you stop it, it looks like he has control. But in normal speed, I don't think he had control of that ball. He has possession, and then it's out and into the. Hey, I don't get. I mean, I get paid to second guess them, but
I wondered where you were going with that.
I don't know what to say.
Well, Jim Allison is the replay official, so in his hands right now. There's the strip.
And it's going to be whether he hit the ground and the ground caused the fumble. Did he have possession of it? In my mind, I'm going to stick with he didn't. We'll see what the replay official thinks.
Far be it from me to stray from your side. Look at the reverse angle.
Yeah, the ball's out.
Loose.
You can't really, the ball seems to be never back in control of Ricardo Lewis.
Well, a lot of time being taken because it is.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It was a fumble, first down. Auburn will be charged with the timeout, and they have lost their challenge to the game.
You know, I think it was worth a shot, though.
Sure.
You know, and if it's anything, he bought some time for his defense to get a rest, because they just went 10 plays, 75 yards. So if there's, you know, if they could hold him to a field goal here, that would be big.
One timeout remaining now for Auburn.
A
First
field
down,
goal
10.
makes it a 14-point game.
Play action, Prescott. That'll throw. Caught. Malcolm Johnson at the 1.
Well, it's the same matchup. Rob Parisi against Malcolm Johnson, 6 versus 17.
I go with Prescott here. Nope. Why not go with the bowling ball? Josh Robinson. There's a young man with a low center of gravity and a high energy level. Extra point is up and good. Malcolm Johnson, the tight end, for the catch to the goal line.
It was a fake screen right here, and then Malcolm Johnson runs the wheel route to the outside, and it ends up being a back shoulder throw. Handled very well, defended well, and Malcolm Johnson maybe epitomizes this Mississippi State team. A high school two-star wide receiver who grew into a tight end. And then they give it, as Vern says, to the bowling ball. It all began with a turnover on the kickoff. We've seen that before, haven't we?
Oh. Here's Prescott. Josh Robinson loves his nickname. Why not? Look at the smile. This moment ago while we were away. Josh Robinson leading the crowd. And the joy is evident. Largest crowd ever to attend a Mississippi State home game. 62,945. Kickoff taken by Corey Grant. Now let's head back to New York once again. Here's Adam Zucker.
Hey, Vern, a sloppy one as well between Alabama and Arkansas. 2 fumbles apiece. Bama turning one of them into a touchdown. Blake Sims to TJ Yeldon. He reaches out. Bama's got a 7-0 lead in the second quarter. Back to you.
All right, Adam, thank you. And going into today's play, the SEC. Arkansas. What a division. First down 10, but now down by 18 with 11:07 to go. Brandon Fultz, number 11. Here's Lewis on the sweep. Gets a block from Artis Payne, and then he dives over the tackle and picks up the first down. 𝐭𝐭M𝐭 made the stop.
I think that's about the first time we've seen that play in this game.
I think so. Lewis with a little limp as he goes out. Whoops. One hopper. Incomplete. I know how you feel about momentum. How do you feel about karma?
Well,
it's not a trick question.
I don't know, but I would take a good offensive line and defensive line over either.
Well, in other words, you kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they got good players. They might have been 2 stars and 3 stars when they were recruited, but they've grown into 5 stars. They got good players on this team.
Second down 10. Marshall. Back throw. Got it. Yep.
That was, you know, the player that Nick Marshall hopes he could be is a Russell Wilson type player. You know, and that's a Russell Wilson type play right there. Quick with his feet, but able to throw with his arm going any direction.
Handoff. Cameron Artis Payne. Now, the reason I asked is because we haven't noted this yet, but it's a bus ride from Auburn to Starkville. And last night, this Auburn team spent the night at the Capstone Hotel in where? Tuscaloosa.
Wow. First time ever.
Depending on how this one turns out, maybe the last time ever. 9:53 to go. Third and 2.
Nice play. Yep. That's what we were used to seeing by the offensive line in 2013 when they could just, oh, they're going to get called for a penalty here. They tried a substitution on first down. That won't work against, that's very difficult to work. That's risky. It's going to cost them 5 yards. You knew that Auburn would go up tempo on that one. That was a bad substitution. Like everything falls back down on you.
Second down and 1, 8:36 to go. Marshall man for man, Coates can't hang on.
I really like Will Redmond. I'll tell you, in this football game, 2 guys on defense really stood out. Will Redmond for Mississippi State and Jonathan Jones for Auburn. They have competed. I mean, these are tough players they're going against. Those are big-time athletes. Sammy Coates, Wilson. I mean, those are big-time guys.
Third and 1. Guess who? Will Redmond.
And Vern, when you put on the tape, you don't even have to watch it that long and watch this guy make plays. He's a bullet, and he's aggressive, and he makes the tackles.
Well, Daniel Carlson is coming on to attempt a field goal. 38-20. If he's good with this.
I'm surprised. I have to say, I'd be going for it.
42 yards. Oh, it drew, as they say. Hooked. Almost. And it cuts it to 15 points. So conceivably, obviously. 38-23 before this huge crowd in Starkville. Thursday football starts here when Rex Ryan's New York Jets take on Tom Brady and the rival Patriots. Another big-time matchup in prime time on the NFL Network and CBS. Jim Nance, Phil Simms, Tracy Wolfson will be there. They're doing single-digit duty this week. Patriots have won 6 of the last 7, and Tom Brady has decent career stats against the Jets.
I'm surprised that Dan Mullen doesn't have his onside field kickoff team on there to force the kick team. I would line them up and just tell Auburn we're ready for it.
Carlson will be the kickoff man.
There's only 2 players on that half of the field.
Now they go deep. At the goal line, Brandon Holloway, number 10. He doesn't get much. Well, 38-23 here. Let's find out what else is going on. Here's Adam.
All right, Vern. Well, the top rushing offense in the SEC, scoring 1 on the top rushing defense in the conference. Jonathan Williams rumbling in for Arkansas, but Bama blocks the extra point and still leads 7-6, trying to bounce back from that loss at Ole Miss last week. Back to you.
All right, Adam, thank you. Intermittent rain, sometimes heavy. It has subsided now. 38-23 and first down 10. Auburn with 1 timeout remaining. Here's Prescott. Oh, that was cute.
Staying back. And they got holding right at the end of the play. Wow, 2 mistakes. Not staying in bounds and then holding.
Flag on the play.
Oh, yeah.
Bᴜʟʟᴅᴏ. I mean, Dak has to slide and stay in bounds, and Wilson can't get a penalty in that situation. Remember the nightmare that Dan Mullen almost had against LSU. He had an 18-point lead.
During the run, holding number 1 offense, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, will still have a first down.
Number 1, bᴜʟʟᴅᴏ. And Trevon Reed, number 25. Boy, that's more than holding. That's mugging.
That looked like WWE. So it wipes out a 20-yard gain.
Yeah, but it makes it a short for a first down. What is it, 2 yards for a first down here?
Looks that way, yeah. Prescott, he has been picked off twice today, and you see Robinson's numbers. Comes the Auburn blitz.
Yeah, they are selling out.
Josh Robinson tackled by Devontae Lambert.
Do you remember Auburn only has 1 timeout left in the game?
No gain on the play. Brings it on 2nd down and shorts.
2nd and short. 6:46.
Just following up on that LSU, he did not kick the field goal to make it 21 points. All of a sudden, it got tight at the end. He put his backups in a little early, said he learned a big lesson on that game, but, you know, they got away and survived.
Here's Prescott.
Wow,
Short.
nothing again.
Right.
1 more stop, and it's going to get nervous around here.
Derek Moncrief with that tackle.
No gain on the play. Brings up 3rd down and 2.
3rd and 2.
Well, I started out saying the difference is the big quarterback being able to make 3rd and 1s. If he could ever do it, you know Tebow would be doing it right now, right? Cam would be flying over the top. Let's see if Dak Prescott can take it over the top. Ooh, they're going to line up under center. Nope.
Nope. Here he comes. Stopped short.
Oh, he did not make it. How about that defense for Auburn? 3 straight plays. It was 1st and 2.5. And they stopped them 3 straight times. My goodness.
Justin Garrett, excuse me, Gary.
No, you got to punt.
Absolutely. So 4th and 1 after it was 1st and 2. And a little late substitution. Auburn very late getting set. And a flag is thrown. I don't know what was going on then.
I think it's going to be on Mississippi State.
On the offense.
Yep.
12th player came into the formation, did not leave within 3 seconds. That's a 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
Yep. Boy, this is a mini meltdown right here. I mean, first of all, you had your quarterback make a 1st down out to the 45-yard line. You get a holding, then you get 1st and 2. You could have took another 2.5 minutes off the clock.
And so the Tigers will get it back with 5:04 remaining. Fair catch called and taken at the 30-yard line. Well, Nick Marshall gets to come back on the field. Showed an ability to come through in the clutch. 13 against Mississippi State. He hit 𝐭𝐮𝐿 for an 11-yard touchdown. Auburn won it. Marshall's prayer. Ricardo Lewis. Then this was last year in the Iron Bowl. Sammy Coates. And against Kansas State, it was Duke Williams, the junior college transfer, to secure that road victory. Well, now a formidable task, but they have a chance. 1 timeout, down 15, 4:56 to go. Marshall. Sammy Coates down low.
You know, 1 timeout with the football is no big deal. 1 timeout without the football, when Mississippi State controlled the game, could be a quick death, but Mississippi State could not get a 1st down.
Marshall slips it to Cameron Artis-Payne. It will be 3rd down. Well, when they rehash this one, and they will for a while, don't forget, 3rd quarter, 1st possession Auburn, 68-yard catch negated by an offensive pass interference call. This is Cameron Artis-Payne looking for blocking help. Settles to get out of bounds to stop the clock.
Well, that was a Trey Mason run right there. Remember a run like that against Alabama where it looked like he was stopped, switched fields, cut back, and then got outside the defense. That was a great run by Cameron Artis-Payne right there. This is going to go. Listen, I didn't think Gus was doing it right. If he scores there, he can tell me I was wrong, because I'll admit it.
Player down, and it's one of the defensive stars, Will Redmond, number 2. 4:06 remaining. Time call. CBS. Little nervous time now if you're a Mississippi State fan.
Fans and players for Mississippi State look nervous.
1st down 10. Marshall. Preston Smith, first man there.
Mississippi State kept 2 safeties back. They trusted their front 4 to put pressure. They did not zero out. They played 4 quarters that time. They picked up men late, and it
their second
actually
timeout.
confused.
This will be a 30-second timeout.
Dan Mullen opts to use the timeout. Both teams now with 1 left. And don't forget to stay tuned for the Dodge postgame show on CBS Sports. 2nd and 14, Gary. What do you think?
I'll tell you what, if they win this game, that's why they may be looking a little bit too far in front right here, because if they win this game, they're going to be favored in the next 3 games, and they would roll into Alabama 9-0. Remember, in 2012, they went there 7-0. I mean, if they can win this game, the schedule favors Mississippi State.
Open week next week. So does Auburn have an open week. 38-23 on 2nd and 14. Marshall, whoops. Complete mix-up with Sammy Coates. 3rd and 14.
Orlando Cleveland that time almost could have ended the game. The ball just kept drifting out, almost out of bounds.
3rd down 14. Coach goes right. That's Ricardo Lewis moving. Marshall steps up. Rolls back, out of trouble. Got him open. That's a first down at the 22, Ricardo Lewis.
Come on. That was Russell Wilson right there. You got to admit it. I mean, that's exactly what Russell Wilson has been doing in the NFL. Spinning around, no way this should work. Makes the throw for a first down. What a play.
And it's 1st and 10 with 3:19 to go. Marshall pumps, and he has to throw it away as the contact is made. Now, no flag. Preston Smith with the pressure.
Remember, Preston Smith is part of that 1A group. Because he played 25 guys all game, and he lived with it, they're fresh for this last drive.
2nd down 10, no flag for intentional grounding.
And they've been putting on pressure. They haven't been getting them much, but they've been putting on pressure.
4 down for Mississippi State. Only 4 come. Marshall chased right. Pulls it down, 1st down at the 9.
It was supposed to be a screen, and something happened to it, and he had to run. The offensive linemen were more than 4 or 5 yards downfield. It was supposed to be a screen, and somebody busted it. I think the wide receiver must have busted the play.
And so Marshall uses his feet to pick up a 1st and 10. Under 3, clock is now going. 4-man rush. Marshall, oh wow, a duck. A duck. And Justin Cox makes the interception.
Was it tipped, or was he trying to stop throwing the ball?
I don't know.
It might have been that he tried to stop throwing and it just was too late to stop, or it might have been tipped. I could not see it.
It was an interception. That play is under further review.
We're going to take a look at whether he made the interception.
Yes, it was batted out of his hand that time from behind by Chris Jones, the All-American. Chris Jones hits the arm, the ball goes forward, and I think he got it. And we talked about those guys up front. They were fresh, and Chris Jones, a surefire top 10 draft pick at defensive tackle, makes the saving play for Mississippi State.
This is what they're determining now. Was the catch legal?
I think he got his arms underneath it.
Indeed. Justin Cox.
After review, the ruling on the field confirmed interception, 1st down.
I sat next to a Mississippi State alum the other night coming in. She said, if we win, we ain't going to rush the field.
Yeah, that's for sure. They're going to put number 9 on the board. But, Vern, you asked me about karma. What I said, I'll take a defensive line and offensive line.
There you go.
Josh Robinson, the ball carrier.
Remember the grease board. Number 9 gets to put his number up there. But let me put 96 on it, too, okay?
That rain's had an effect, hasn't it? Second down 8. Auburn's 4th turnover today, including 2 on the first 2 plays a long, long time ago. Prescott, first down.
And that should do it. Remember, Vern, Auburn had the karma last year.
Yep.
Mississippi State has a bunch of 2- and 3-star players, a lot of seniors that have built themselves up. Maybe, as you like to say, the karma's on their side this year, and some good football players.
They've got some talent.
Yes.
Prescott now with 20 carries, 121 yards, 2 touchdowns, and it's 1st and 10.
And the schedule, too. They have the most attractive schedule going forward.
Must be said, excuse me, Gary.
2 highly emotional games, you know, back-to-back, and they win them both. Now they get to take a rest and go to Kentucky.
Well, this is 3 straight top 10 wins.
Wow.
At LSU, at home against A&M, and now about to knock off 2nd-ranked Auburn. Auburn out of timeouts.
Vern, as Alabama needed help last week after losing, now Auburn with this brutal schedule in front of them, now they need help. They still have to play Ole Miss and Texas A&M. There's no layups for Auburn.
Hey, they've got to go to Kentucky in 2 weeks, and the Wildcats are 5-1.
Yep.
(38-23). Clock will keep unraveling.
Just too many mistakes for Auburn to overcome.
They called it the biggest game ever played here. Thus, it equates to the biggest win ever accomplished here. And Dan Mullen about to shed a few tears.
And remember when he came here, he had to first challenge the fans and rebuild the facilities and then go get football players. He did all 3.
Well, the clock still shows 33 seconds. It's not running. Well, this is the center of the college football universe with Ole Miss and Mississippi State winning last week. And Dak Prescott leads his team to a 15-point win over the previously undefeated Tigers of Auburn.
Yeah. He threw for 246 and ran for 121. He made some mistakes,
yes,
but he also made some plays.
Dan Mullen, 42 years of age. He's with 𝐿𝐈_LaForce.
Coach, I saw you trying to hold back tears. You've come a long way since when you first arrived and you challenged the players and the fans to be great. What'd you make of it?
Well, it's unbelievable. You know, we came here, we asked all these people to believe in what we were going to build. All I ever heard is what you can't do. I don't believe and I can't. Our players don't. This atmosphere today was unbelievable. I don't know that we've really accomplished all that much just yet. We're 3-0 in the SEC. That's it. We're halfway through our season at 6-0. But it's a great way to start, and we got a lot of tough road ahead of us.
Coach, great teams make big plays in big moments, and your offense scored after every Auburn turnover. How proud of the leadership that you saw from them today?
Well, it's huge. This is a great group of young men. You know, they don't get fazed by things. They stick together. They know everybody has to step up to make a play when their number's called, and it's always someone different. They believe in themselves. They believe in each other. And this is a great win for Mississippi State. This is a great win for the state of Mississippi.
Thanks, Coach. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congrats to Dan and Megan Mullen. And the Bulldogs of Mississippi State. And my seatmate on that flight from Atlanta was right. They did not rush the field.
And a kiss for the quarterback.
There's Megan. Like 𝐿𝐈_LaForce, Megan is a graduate of Ohio University. Let's go back to the graduate who's with Dak Prescott.
Dak, it's the first time in school history that you've had 3 consecutive wins over top 10 teams. What is so clutch about this year's team?
It's everybody that put everything into this. This university, you see the fans, we call them our family out here today. Everybody's on the same page. We got a lot of confidence and we're going in the right direction. You told me yesterday you're confident that you could throw it up to one of your wide receivers and you would guarantee that they'd win the battle each and every time. How proud are you the way they worked for you today? I'm completely, I don't know, I'm very proud of those guys. They did a great job, and I made a couple of poor throws right there, and not giving them a chance one-on-one, but when I gave them a chance, they went up and made those throws and got us to this win. All right, we'll enjoy this moment, Dak. Congratulations.
Allie, thank you. The words from the quarterback, Rain Dakota Prescott. And memories of his mother, Peggy.
Vern, I think you're smart. You kiss your wife first, and then you go kiss the quarterback. Watch this. All right, I love you, honey, but I got to kiss my quarterback, too.
Well, a lot of emotion down on that field. And now it's time for the play of the game presented by Napa Auto Parts. Auburn was threatening. They were down 15, but they were moving. Chris Jones made the big play. He affected the ball, intercepted. Let's look at it again. Here's Jim Ellis of Ole Miss Radio.
Throw it in the middle of the pass is tipped, and the Bulldogs with a diving interception with Justin Cox coming up with a diving interception. Bulldogs after Marshall, and somebody got deflection on that one.
Yeah, either he got his arm hit.
Jim Ellis, who for 37 years was the sidekick, the partner on the radio broadcast of the late Jack Crystal. I know a lot of folks here were thinking about him as well as this current team. 38-23. Mississippi State jumps off to a 21-0 lead at the end of the first, and they hang on. For Gary Danielson, 𝐿𝐈_LaForce, our leaders in the truck, Chuck, Craig Silver, and Steve Milton up here, David Moulton, Butch Baird, and Chuck Gardner. I got ahead of myself. 38-23. What a scene. The Dodge postgame show is up next. After these messages and a word from your local station, there'll be some cowbells being rung at the junction in Starkville tonight. See you next week.